Hey, it's the Bennington Show on a Monday after a very exciting Trump weekend, and I guess that's what the song was about. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I am Ron Bennington. You can't keep up with our president. There's so many different things. Today he just signed a new executive order saying, well, I think he said for every new regulation, you have to get rid of 2 regulations.
Okay.
But
nice.
didn't say which ones. So if I don't know.
I implement a similar rule, like when you buy something new, you got to get rid of 2 things in your closet.
Okay, maybe that's what he's thinking.
I think that's
keep a nice clean closet. You know.
I would like for him to start posting the executive orders. Like maybe that's what the wall could be. Like they could be like framed, each one
I
really
wouldn't
nice.
mind. And as you know, I do love his signature, and he does it a lot lately. So the news, constantly trying to keep up with the president, what this means, what's going on. I did like today he made fun of Chuck Schumer for crying and said about a 5% chance that was real. I don't know where that came from, the 5% chance, but it really cracked me up.
You know what? They're, love them or hate them. You've got to at least enjoy a president who tweets out like some bad dudes. Like he's throwing down dudes a lot, and I appreciate that.
I remember once when George W. Used the word tin horn terrorist, and that was one of my. I'm not going to let some tin horn terrorist tell me what to do. Although unlike Trump, he didn't say that in the public. It had to be. Most presidents have tried to dodge being in the news every day. Trump is in the news 8 times a day, at least. It's the busiest first week that anyone has ever had. And as far as all the airport shit over the weekend, from what I understand, Congress found out the same time as the rest of us. They just, heard it on the news. And for some reasons, the Homeland Security at the airport was ready to just jump into action that second, which brought out all the protesters, and it was a wild weekend. It's really weird. I don't even see the people, the pro-Trump people on TV right now. It's just this bedlam, and, Conway's out there every single day.
She's got to be exhausted.
Yeah, man. I mean, she's just out there throwing leather, trying to trying to turn this thing around and blame the news person themselves. It's just, you cannot keep up. There's already too much social media as it is. And this is added 10 times. Now, I turned on the SAG Awards last night. They were going ape shit. I don't think there was a single person who didn't rip the President of the United States.
Yeah, across the board, everybody.
Stranger Things went fucking nuts.
Stranger Things went banana sandwiches, and those kids were going nuts. Someone, I think, told Winona Ryder that she had to be in character to receive the award, but she was like emoting more than I've ever seen a person emote.
But she was like mocking out the guy talking. I mean, she was really.
I was so confused
a prick.
I actually had to rewatch it because the first time around I could only focus on her face, and then the second time I'm like, I'm going to have to listen to the chief because I think he said some pretty interesting things.
The chief talked about punching somebody in the face. I don't know who it was. But she was acting like the chief was a dick. But she was just an upstage central. Mm-hmm. And it completely worked because everybody is talking about her and everybody has memed her up. But no one has said, hey, what a prick to do that when somebody that you're working with is talking.
I know. And I guess it wasn't.
She wasn't being positive towards him. Yeah, she was acting like he was nuts.
Yeah, like she was like, what? This? Whoa. Oh, okay. That was a strange one. Like her face was changing every 3 seconds. And then at some point, maybe even like, okay, calm down. Yeah, I don't know what, like, I can't even imagine the emotions.
When she saw the room backing him up, that's when she went into, I'm with him too.
Yeah.
But up to that point, she was like, what a dick.
She did like a very gentle, like, fist.
Yeah. Like making fun of people, like, oh, people who put their fist up are cocks.
I can't imagine what was going on in her head. I can only imagine that she thought she had to be in character because she was just reminding me of the mom from Stranger Things.
She's a Looney Tune. So then I switched over to Roast Battle, thinking I can end politics for the night. Jeff Ross opens up calling comedy the new resistance. He's taking the resistance thing and just handing it to comedy. And then they spent the rest of the night calling each other dicks. But I was very fun. I've never seen Jeff Ross be political before.
No, it's certainly shaking things up and waking people up, no matter what position you're taking.
But it's waking them up crazy. People are waking up crazy. All right, 844 Rock God, 844 Rock God. Jeff Ross has made comedy the new resistance.
La resistance.
Yeah, it's working too. The funny thing is, in the clubs, it still creates a lot of tension if anyone tries to get into a Trump thing, because you can see people with just like some kind of a Trump-free zone. You know what I mean? Just some kind of zone where they could turn it off. Just for a second. Then I saw this thing that the scientists are going to march. It's a nerd march on the White House.
Yeah, you can't even keep up with the amount of protests, marches, rallies. They're just being organized on, a weekly basis. And there's another big one always planned for like the following week. I mean, the ones this weekend kind of came out of nowhere. That was a very quick
ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Who did I see? There was a comic that was, Ted Alexandro. He was out pretty early on at JFK, and I'm like, oh, shit, some people are out there, right? And then like a half hour later, there's going to be a lot of people out there. And then before you know it, I mean, for people that aren't in New York City, it's not easy to get to the airport. I mean, it's a haul. It's expensive or it's long. It's up to you. Do you want to take all day to get out there or pay a really big fee? I mean, it's way out there in Queens. So, for that thing to keep blowing up like it was, and then I'm like, oh, they're in the Philly airport. They're in the D.C. airport. They're in L.A. They're in San Francisco. It's a constant basis. It's a constant basis. And you would think that this would be getting to the Trump people, but I think they're kind of digging it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that they, because Trump is like publicity is publicity. It doesn't matter, right? I know everyone says that. Doesn't matter if it's good publicity, but you hate it when it's bad publicity.
Fuck.
Most people do.
I wish they didn't say anything.
Yeah, yes. I mean, most people don't like to see a mean post at them about themselves, let alone every, newspaper and news gathering organization. But I think they dig it. I think it shows like, hey, they know we're doing stuff, Now, here's something that I think is interesting. I've noticed this a bit on social media, like people who are saying, can't we just get back to social media not being about politics? And people actually saying things like, let's get back to just taking pictures of our food and commenting on it. Yeah. I actually think I would prefer to read somebody's politics that are the opposite of mine than that. Yeah. And then people who are saying, oh, this is so annoying to hear actors, let's say, like put their politics out there. But, it's not like those acceptance speeches are that exciting. Why? Because you wanted to hear them thank their agent? You know what I mean? Like, No, you're right. From a TV point of view, seeing if you can still keep the Trump roast fresh, you know what I mean? Or if you're the kind of person who goes up and is just like, this is great, and you don't mention, you know what I mean? Like, you're suddenly going to look like the dick. Like
I want to thank my publicist who made this possible.
The world is a beautiful place. I just love it. I just love the world. Scott in Indiana. Scott.
Yeah, what's up, guys?
Hey, buddy.
I think she was making him faces because he's talking about, America not being exclusive and everyone needs to be invited in and all this shit when that's the top, 1% was there anyways. That's all it's about. And about, look at me and look at what we did in Hollywood. And that's why she was giving goofy faces, because the guy's
See, this is the beautiful thing about Winona. We don't know what she meant. You can go and put anything on that you want.
I wouldn't begin to try to think what she was thinking while she gave every face known to man.
And I don't understand why America loves that fucking just face Woodstock that she ran. You know what I mean? Like, they're acting like...
Everyone was thinking.
What's that?
Because that's what the majority of people were thinking when he's talking about how, we just need to be involved and, you need to be accepting. And, fucking Hollywood itself isn't accepting. You can't get into it. You got to be the elite. You know what I'm saying? So...
Well, I mean, no, they're...
myself,
Well, it's like any business. You have to get in, and it normally does take years. But everybody that got there, they didn't get there because they went to the right college. You know what I mean? Like that business, the business of Hollywood, it's truly a crapshoot. And I always think about this, too, of people that I know at one point that were like major stars. You know what I mean? And now are like B or C level stars. Like Kevin Costner is like almost a joke to people. But there was like a 5-year run where he was number one. Number fucking one.
Where you'd say, name an actor, and immediately...
Kevin Costner.
Bing. Kevin Costner.
We talked 100 minutes. Yeah, there was about a 5, right up until Waterworld. That was a destruction for him. But if you went from like 89 to 93 or 94, he was the number one box office guy, and he was a critical darling. He was winning Oscars. Yeah. Gone.
Can't get him higher.
And there's always, like if you look at the entire cast of Scream, and then you throw them in with I Know What You Did Last Summer. They were the hot kids. They got to do everything. Now none of them get brought up.
What's Skeet even doing these days?
Skeet was going to be the new Johnny Depp. That was the thing on Skeet Ulrich. He was the new Johnny Depp.
I thought for sure that he was going to be, like the new hot celebrity beyond just being like a cute guy.
Right.
They loved Skeet.
And he seemed like he was going to be a big actor. And now he could be standing behind Winona Ryder. Winona Ryder is a perfect thing. She's like the 10th lead on a fucking show that comes on your computer. And she was the it girl of the early 90s.
Now, to guess, he was just saying, okay, I think it's because she was disagreeing. I don't even think that it was full disagreement. I don't know what it was. I think that she was having like a range of like a personal photo booth in her mind where she thought she had to like change expressions every 3 seconds. But if you notice, everybody else seemed to know that he was going to do that. But I think really what it was is like, don't bother telling Winona, she's not going to get it.
I think she doesn't like him. I think it's a thing. At work, like if we were like, let's suppose we all ran up on stage,
okay,
and Chris started fucking talking. I think that's how she felt. Like, why is Chris talking?
You know what? When you put it in those terms, I can imagine myself making 700 expressions as Chris.
You do it while he's on the show.
Oh, okay. Well, no, not that, but yeah, that. Well, that's weird.
It was bizarre. It was a nutty SAG Awards. And it was a nutty weekend. And, the fact that I don't agree with the last caller that she was making fun of the Hollywood elite since he's not one. You know what I mean? Like, he's just a regular working dude. Mm-hmm. His opinion's just as good as mine, though. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't matter. 844 Rock God is the number. 844 Rock God. It's going to be an exhausting 4 years. You can't be far away from your phone. I think we're going to probably get an executive order a day for the rest of this term. Cal Penn did a tweet, a kind of an new executive order tweet about, and half $500,000 was raised in 24 hours.
Holy
$500,000 just basically doing it. This isn't my America. I know a guy who's held up. A friend of mine's dad was held up at the airport. I don't know where the money goes. Did they say, Vito, who the money goes to?
Is he one of the people going with the ACLU?
I don't know. That I don't know. I didn't hear ACLU.
I know that the ACLU donations this weekend were so... They have not seen anything like this. For example, what I had read
They've been considered the bad guys in this country for a long time.
on average, they get about $4 million in donations a year from online donations. This weekend alone, they had something like $24 million in donations.
Well, Lyft did the thing when Uber made the ban. Lyft was like, well, we're going to donate $1 million over the next 4 years to the ACLU.
That's over the next 4 years. She just said you came up with how much?
$24 million.
$24 million. Yeah. So if anything, they're and they weren't part of the online donations. This is just people themselves going, I'm going to give money to the ACLU. And then suddenly it makes like kids go, man, I wish I was a fucking lawyer. You know what I mean? Like it suddenly makes law, like most of the time you're like lawyers, they're dicks. But then every once in a while there's something like really cool that happens.
Right.
You know, and the same thing, like if you watch, All the President's Men, you're like, man, I wish I was a fucking journalist, you know, good looking journalist running around trying to find out facts. That'd have been great. Here is Dave in Chicago.
Yeah, you guys are talking about these executive orders, and if you go online to his website, he's got his contract with America, the things that he's going to do in the first 100 days, and he's just basically picking one a week and doing an executive order. If you go online, it's...
Dude, he's already done like 6 or 7. I mean, he's way out ahead of the game. And I remember, like, when Obama was there, Fox News was 24 hours a day. Executive orders are anti-constitutional. Obama's running around. And now, the Republican guy, he's just the executive order dude. He's just the executive order dude. And some of these things are just so general, you're not even exactly sure what they mean.
Do you think anybody in the swamp, if you will, any of the established politicians, even those who voted for him or agreed with him, are going like, okay, cool. Are you going to slow down a little? Or you think they're just like, okay, this is great. This is exactly what we need?
I think they would like to be involved. You know what I mean? I think they would, you know, they got elected. And from their point of view, and I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, but you're like, I wish, you know, I got a chance to belly up on some of this stuff on our team.
I'd like to find some stuff.
I mean, to me, I'm going to put this in football terms. You just watch a game and a quarterback just comes up and he's just fucking chucking. Like the first 5 plays are bombs. You're just like, dude, we got to slow this down a little bit. We got a running game. Look for the open man. You're just airing this shit out. And you got to just, you know, you're running on and off the field as hard as you can. We got 60 minutes to play. Let's Joe Montana up a little bit. Let's call a huddle. I mean, I know you got a gun. I know it. But it doesn't mean use it every play. So I think the Republicans are backpedaling. All right, let me just say, $250,000 for refugees in less than 24 hours. Oh, all right, this is Cal Penn's money going to the International Rescue Committee. That's the name of Cal Penn's new movie. No, I'm only nice. He's not taking that and putting it up there for his own. Here's our buddy G-Man. G-Man, you're on the air.
Hi, Bonass.
Hey, buddy.
I felt it my civic duty to make an announcement to all the listeners out there.
Good.
If you have not seen any live comedy shows, do not start with Big J. Okerson.
Because it'll ruin it?
He will fucking ruin every show you see from here on out.
Yeah.
That was an unreal set. I giggled like a fucking schoolgirl for an hour straight.
I've laughed every time I've seen that guy work, too. And the funny thing is, Jay is one of those guys that you could go see on the night of the week. You know what I mean? And you're not going to be hearing the same material. He's crazy funny.
No, it was lightning fast, crowd work. He was up there for about an hour, a little over. Did maybe half his set was prepared material, the other half was crowd work, and it was fucking hilarious and lightning fast.
I love it, man. That's Big J.
Big buddy.
Big J. I guess he's back in town and doing the bonfire tonight.
Yes, he is, yes.
6 o'clock over there on Comedy Central Radio.
Yes.
All right, good. I'm getting nothing but positive feedback.
All correct.
Everything I said is just Here is here's JT in Florida.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Hey, Gail.
Hey.
Great to hear from you today. I think, can you hear me well?
Yeah, perfectly.
Good, because I upgraded my phone plan as recommended by you last week.
Great.
I sound like Darth Vader having a miscarriage.
All right.
Hey, the analogy, Joe Montana analogy, was the best. I mean, I love it. He's running Hail Marys on 1st and 10.
It's unbelievable. I mean, seriously, this is certainly, I'm going to give him this. This is way better than The Apprentice ever was. You know what I mean? I mean, I thought that he made a lot of snap decisions in The Apprentice. Some of it just based on what George has said or one of his kids. I'm like, you're not even 100% sure what went down there before you're firing these people. He wasn't there finding out who was setting up the lemonade stand and who didn't get the correct color pens for the Post-its. But he's hauling. He is. He's just chucking. And he's bringing about a bunch of energy in other people. Like, there's a lot of people, there for a while, it was just Michael Moore in the streets. There wasn't anybody else. It was Michael Moore and two buddies of his from Michigan, and that was it. But now protests can spring up anywhere, which makes, travel more difficult. I'm just seeing a crowd of people right there on MSNBC. I don't even know where they are.
Where is that? Let's see. That looks like Philadelphia. That might be the Philadelphia airport there.
No, that's an airport that's, tough to get into. So you don't know whether it's just, because the thing is, there's a hoagie place right at the front door. You want to get a hoagie before you get on the plane.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And a soft pretzel. Get all of that stuff before you get on the plane.
You don't want to eat plain food.
No, you don't want to eat plain food.
You're an idiot.
Bryce in California.
Hello, sir. You hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, everyone's talking about the airports and the SAG Awards and everything else.
Right.
But I don't think anyone's talking about the shooting that happened in Quebec where a guy killed 6 Muslims in a mosque. It was like the first terrorist action I've ever heard of in Canada.
No, there was a terrible shooting in Canada, also I believe in Quebec City a couple years ago. But I don't know if I would call that terrorist because weren't they Muslims who shot Muslims?
Apparently they yelled Allah Akbar, but they had apparently Quebec French accents. It's no one knows it.
Well, you can be from Quebec and be a Muslim, you racist.
Oh, no, I was just saying that.
No, you're letting on, seriously.
Boy, Chris.
You're letting on that there are no Muslims naturally born there.
What year is this, Chris?
For me.
It's 2017, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't know that.
Oh,
I mean, just that question scared me a little bit. I'm like, I don't know. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it would be up to their authorities to call it terrorist. I don't know whether it is. I don't know whether it's just some dudes from the neighborhood.
The Prime Minister said it was a terrorist attack.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
So
I'll catch you later, man.
What's your feeling on that, though? What's your thing? Are you against it?
Against what?
See, that attack. I mean, obviously, everyone, I think, is against every shooting that takes place.
Not a fan.
And what did they yell, Chris?
Allah Akbar.
What's that mean?
I believe it's God. Allah is great. God is great.
Well, then why don't they just say that?
I don't know, man.
Because I know for a fact that isn't French, what they're yelling. How about when Chris was acting like, good thing no Canadians are allowed to be Muslims. Fucking racist dater.
No, actually, they were Canadians.
I didn't mean to come off like that. That's all.
No, it's too late, Chris. You've offended.
Everyone, I think.
You've offended Justin.
I want to apologize to Justin and Quebec City specifically.
I don't like the idea of Justin living in Toronto. I don't think it makes sense. You know what I mean?
He's a Montreal guy to me.
He's way above Montreal. Jeff in Pennsylvania.
Hey, I just wanted to ask everybody a question. If anyone remembers the bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993.
Yes.
Anybody remember that?
Yes.
Wasn't it Muslims that bombed the World Trade Center?
Yes.
I think it was Muslims.
Yes.
And then fast forward to September in 2001.
That is a fast forward.
I think that was Muslims again.
Right.
That did that. But then I think George Bush was blamed for not doing anything about it. Like he should have stopped that.
Who blamed him?
He should. I think he was blamed like he knew about it and didn't do anything to stop it. Yeah, I think he was blamed for.
Well, then he attacked Iraq, which was an interesting move.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And now Trump blames him for that.
Okay, but it seems like Muslims are committing all the terrorist attacks.
Well, I mean, it depends on what you call a terrorist attack. Like, it wasn't a Muslim who shot up that place in Denver, that school, or the church in South Carolina.
Right.
Or the movie theater.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The movie theater in...
But they're not all a group of people organizing together.
Right. But it isn't all the Muslims, right?
But no, it's not all the Muslims.
Right.
But if you go to a country that's majority Muslim, and if you're a Christian, you have to either convert or they kill you.
Where?
So,
wait, where do you get a convert or they kill you?
If you go to like Saudi Arabia, so you can't build.
Well, Saudi Arabia, this is a very interesting point you brought up, and no one's really talking about this yet. I'm going to go back to the other guy who said no one's talking about the church. But Saudi Arabia, where all the terrorists were from on September 11th, they're not part of this list.
Right.
They're not part of the band where we're keeping an eye on you list.
That's the interesting thing about mentioning that one first and foremost, but that country is not on the list.
I guess they learned their lesson. That's the way I see it. They thought it over and they stopped. As a matter of fact, we've never, out of all the places we've never attacked those dudes who you think they would have been number one on Jump Street. Now, don't get me wrong. I remember when I was younger and somebody did something, so I beat up their little brother. But that was because I thought that was going to be an easier fight.
Right. And he
didn't have any oil.
And then
the little brother didn't have oil.
You could kind of chalk it up to this idea of saying, like, I thought that would emotionally hurt you.
Oh, yeah. It did emotionally hurt him because then I had to hide out from that fucker. Wayne in Canada.
Hey, Bennington, how are you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm from Canada, and it's true. We did have a terrorist attack there a few years ago where the assailant actually went not into our parliament buildings, which would be the equivalent of your Senate, Congress, whatever.
We understand.
Yeah. And but the funny thing is when that happened, it was a radicalized person that was radicalized, and he shouted Akbar and all that stuff. They never called, the prime minister at that time never called it a terrorist attack. He called it psychology, an unbalanced person, basically.
And that's what we use for white people.
Yeah, well, but he also uses that term for the Paris attacks and all these other, the Charles Holbrook attacks and all the rest of them. This is the first time where he ultimately initially called it a terrorist attack, and I just find it amusing that, when it's against the Muslim people or the Muslim mosque, that he would outright call it that initially, but when it's, them doing it to the Francophones or, other Western cultures, that it's never called that, right? So, he's heavily kind of weighted in that. It's pro-immigration, pro-bringing the Syrians in and all that stuff. And they're actually, our government is passing a bill, Islamophobic bill, about anybody stating anything towards Muslims or the Quran, and that will be considered hate speech. And that's going through our parliament right now.
Well, you guys are famously polite and famously against hate speech. Like I remember that comedian was fined in Canada for basically crowd work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right now, let's just say we were talking about Big J the other night and his set. He wouldn't be able to work his way out of that set. He would never be able to pay off that set if we had the same kind of laws. It's Mike Ward. But I know that the Canadians are very polite because they consistently tell us that. And the kids in the hall tried to tell me they were polite. And I'm like, I fucking see you guys work. This doesn't pass for polite. You guys are fucking brutal. Brutal. And yet Canadians turn around and go, oh, we're not like you. We're very polite. I go, I don't know. Oh, speaking of which, I got a couple of Canadians. We forgot. That's your thing, Vito. When you're in, you're supposed to remind me to announce an Unmasked coming up with a couple of famous Canadians. And I'll make sure that the IA Bang is ready with an announcement before I jump into it. But it's going to be next Monday, February 6th, 3:30 p.m. at the SiriusXM studios. Former members of the SCTV show, which I think is one of the most brilliant shows in the history of the world. And then also they are current members of Christopher Guest's troupe, whatever. It doesn't have a name, but you guys know that when you go to a Chris Guest films, which are like the funniest films, there's a group of players that he uses. And then they're also part of Shit Creek, a TV show that's very funny. Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. So we're going to do it here, and this is what, first of all, these are two legends, in my opinion. And I've talked to Eugene before, and he's one of them, he's brilliant. But Catherine O'Hara?
I'm
one of my all-time favorites.
I'm starstruck just thinking about it. I grew up loving her. SCTV, but of course the Christopher Guest films, but she's one of my favorite of all time. I think she is so incredibly funny. Very subtly and uniquely funny. This is going to be a great day. It's going to be very exciting. Even if we just sat there quietly and we didn't talk. Seriously. I mean, if you've been to the Unmasked before, you know that we just have this small studio. You're never more than, 15, 20 feet away from these people. And two legends. Two absolute legends. You're right. I grew up with the SCTV. You grew up with the Christopher Guest films. And those films are as funny today as the day that I saw them. You know what I mean? And I know SCTV just because I think you had either a box set or somebody made you all those tapes. Yeah. And we used to just go through and watch them like they're new. Let's throw on an SCTV. All right, who was part of that initial gang? Joe Flaherty, John Candy, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara. Who else is on that list? Because Marty Short came in later. And Andrea Martin? Andrea Martin, who I did an Unmasked with, which I just swooned for an entire hour. Seriously, just swooned.
Rick Moranis.
Oh, Rick Moranis and Dave Thomas.
Harold Ramis.
Harold Ramis, I don't think was on the initial thing. I think he came in and Marty Short came in and maybe one other person. But they used to go out. It was like the craziest thing. So they're all Toronto people. And then they would just go out in Western Canada, I think, somewhere. And shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And they wouldn't really see anybody but each other. And then come back and be done with the years. And, they would write and shoot on the fly. And this is some brilliant shit. Just brilliant. And the Canadian comedy to me has always been a great mixture of British comedy and American comedy. It's somewhere, it's this strange place that exists between the two. Because a lot of American sketch comedy and, British comedy doesn't remind you of each other. But there's a bizarreness to Canadian comedy, and they'll take the surreal thing as far as they can. Yeah. It just slays me. What a crazy cast too, to think all of those Dude, they all grew up
legends.
together.
Yeah, growing up together.
By the way, those guys, right? Those SCTV guys and the Saturday Night Live guys, before they were together, were doing shit, before they each had their own show, we're all doing shit together anyway. Like Aykroyd was one of them. Paul Schaefer was part of that group. Belushi used to go back and forth between Chicago and Toronto. So they're like, all these amazing people were all 20 years old trying to figure it out together.
Now, did they all come from stand-up, or were they doing
all sketch? SCTV is Second City.
Yeah.
They're all Second City. A ton of those early SNL guys were Second City and Lampoon, and there was a thing back and forth between both of those as well. So it's not like they didn't know Bill Murray or Brian Doyle Murray before then, and a lot of them were all dating each other. I mean, it seems like, how weirdly incestuous, but that was the group that they hung out with. You're bound.
Right.
Who wasn't going to have a crush on Gilda? I think they had all dated Gilda at one point or another. But anyway, this is going to be one of the best of all time. All of these, Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara. So when I say Chris Guest, if you don't know what I mean, I'm talking about Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, Mighty Win, and For Your Consideration. Both these guys were in all of those, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Eugene and Chris are the ones that get together, and they don't write a script, but they write very deeply about who the characters are. So they turn that over to the actors, right? Like, this is your background, this is how you got here, blah, 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 so that they all know where they're coming from with it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's a week from today at the SiriusXM studios in New York City. That's going to be a blast. And then that same week, we're doing another unmasked, right, at the Stand. And I just found out that, I found out over the weekend, that this idea we have for street jokes just exploded, the number of people who want to get in on that. So, I mean, Chris, you normally set up a cancel thing, right?
Like a standby list, yeah.
Standby
list.
You should play the Stand By Me song while you're doing that every time. So try to go over the iBang and get on that. But as of right now, it's just really vicious. But Chris always finds out that some last minute people say, look, I thought I could get into the city. I can't. So get on the standby list.
And if you're on the standby list, you get in. That's it.
That doesn't make sense. No, you don't get in if you're on the standby list. If there's somebody cancels, Chris will contact you that day. But no, you don't just get in for being on the standby list. Chris, if you're going to jump in, help me.
You know
don't
what?
go in the opposite direction.
You're right, I'm making Winona faces every time he speaks.
Listen to this. This is the standby list.
Oh, I won't be afraid just as long as you stand
by list.
Dater boy, do you have a date on the weekend or two? Date or two? I know. He's kind of useless. He's really weird, useless.
It's so weird how he just gently said the word list instead of me.
Yeah.
It's a standby list song.
Yeah.
On Friday, I was with, as Gail calls her, Mr. Big. And then on,
Mr. Big Dick.
No. Female parts. Lovely young lady. And then, last night I was with the Honduran girl.
How was that?
It was good. It was fun.
You shut the deal?
Orally.
Oh, God.
I'm trying to be classy.
It's so much more specific. You just should have said yes.
Orally.
It's not my business. Orally, yes, I did. Close the deal.
So were you
the
giving or
deal.
receiving?
Receiving.
Did you force her, or is this something that she wanted to do?
I believe she wanted to do it, as far as I know.
Where were you at the time?
Her place.
What was she on the rag or something?
I don't think so, yeah.
It's gotta be the reason. It's gotta be it.
It doesn't have to be the only reason, Gail.
She said I'm all ragged up. Is there any way I could just blow you?
Yes, there is.
And what about your Friday night? Did you finish that?
Yeah.
So, and do you get your STD test back yet?
No, I get that around, I think, 4 days. On Thursday, I believe. They told me, call back in a week, is what I was told.
We don't even know what to do with this. Some of the stuff we've never even seen before.
Chris is very excited he got a call back.
It was nice.
Chris was also featured on the iBang this weekend for your podcast.
For High Society Radio, we released a tribute show to Miguel Ferrer, who is a star of RoboCop. So Mystery Science Theater 3000 RoboCop.
Who wrote that up, Chris?
That was Bill Trussell.
Bill Trussell. High Society Radio plays tribute. Now, was it a comedic tribute or?
Well, no, we all love the film and we love his character in RoboCop. So it was comedic, but it was, heartfelt.
But was it like tongue in cheek? Were you making fun of Miguel?
No, we were not making fun of Miguel. He has the best scene in the movie, in my opinion.
Mike in Ontario.
Hey, Ronnie D.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, do you remember, I'm sorry if I'm late with the FCTV thing. Joe Flaherty was part of that crew,
Love
too.
him.
You remember Joe?
That was the first name I brought up.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it, Rod. That guy was hilarious, I thought, but he didn't get a chance to take off like a lot of the other guys did. I never figured that out. I thought he was the funniest one.
At any given time, I'm going to say any of them are the funniest one, and it's true of that group. But he played the dad on Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that he wasn't really all that interested in Hollywood. And then other people have said he's one of those funny people who's a little less grounded than some other funny people.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, he did land a solid role in Happy Gilmore, too.
Oh, yeah, he works.
I mean, he works.
Yeah. But I don't know if he likes the game of it all. And then Rick Moranis, who, we were talking about, giant stars, he's a guy that just said, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not interested anymore. Don't want to do it. He lives up on the Upper West Side.
That story breaks my heart.
Maybe Chris could try to book him one day, because, oh my God, what are you eating over there?
Oh my God.
I'm chewing on some ice.
Oh my God.
He needs iron. He needs iron in his blood system.
I do.
You know what? You're coming too much. That's what the problem is.
I think it has something to do with his VD.
I didn't think that he would ever become a known sex addict. I'm kind of proud of him right now.
Addicted to everything else.
I think this is Kurt in California.
Yeah, it's Court, like in the movie.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Catherine O'Hara playing the boozy, neurotic, overprotective mother in Orange County. That's my favorite role for
That's
her.
a really, really great one. She plays drunk so well.
She
the
does.
whole role, the whole cast is great. Hey, can you ask the president, can we have a day off? I mean, is anybody in the administration getting a day off? It's been 2 weeks, and it's been nonstop. Does anybody anybody work for him? I don't think you ever get a day off. It's just got to be every day. You're getting a phone call from this guy, or you're getting a text. This guy is unbelievable. I wake up this morning listening to you guys. I go, what did I miss yesterday?
Yeah, you
this guy is unbelievable with his work ethic. I'm all for it.
It's like I'll be out somewhere and someone's just looking at their phone and they're just giving me crazy updates all the time.
But that Kellyanne Conway's she's going to be a neurotic mess in the next couple of weeks. I mean,
I know a lot of people don't like her. I think that it's amazing how she boxes. They'll have her in the corner and she makes her way out and starts she is just the South Jersey fucking brawler.
But you know what I think is kind of great about her? Unlike some people where it's like, oh my God, they work so hard you can never see it. Like, you can see she's getting beat down. She looks tired. She gets like a face about her, and then she'll just come battling back.
I love her.
She like hulks up her arms, and then she's like, I got it. I got the answer.
She was demanding that some people in the media be fired on Sunday morning. Like, all the people who didn't pick Trump, why aren't they fired? Why aren't the people who predicted Trump would lose be fired right now? And I'm like, I don't know who has the power to do that.
She said that all the newspapers should be fucking, like everyone who works in newspapers in general.
No, she did not say that, Chris.
I'll find the quote.
She said that they should shut up and listen. She ripped that line off.
I did like her comment, like, if this continues, we're going to have to rethink our relationship. Well, that's not really how it's going to work. They're just going to keep reporting.
She said newspapers should be gutted for dishonest coverage.
Kingston Pete said Harold Ramis was on the original cast, and Rick Moranis, Robin Duke, and Tony Rosato came in season 3, Marty Short season 4. So Ramis was part of that. Vito, you called it. Stand up and give yourself a pat on the back. And then start wearing a shirt that has a hand back there that you can high five against on your own back.
That's good.
Yeah, that would be great. Damn, that show was good. There was always this Harold Ramis bit that I remembered. It just goes to you how much the world has changed. And he was a guy who was doing a show that he was self-directing, and it was all about video, because today everything is video. And he kept saying video, and then he would play little clips of like turning Japanese and stuff in the middle of it. Yeah. And that's like what a nerd was pre-computers. They were just someone who was very interested in sound or video.
Right. AV Club.
Right? Excuse me?
It was the AV Club.
Yeah, they were very AV Club, but he kept saying video. Here's a video I'm sure you're gonna like. I don't know why. It had me on the fucking floor. Like I couldn't fucking breathe. God. And when Joe Flaherty would be in a wheelchair, but he didn't need it, he just thought it made him seem... It was fucking the funniest shit. And they all acted like all this shit took place in the same Canadian town. I mean, this was seriously alt before there was an alt. That's why I don't know how you could do alt. It's already existed. Like, it doesn't have to be unfunny to be alt. You can still be hilarious. Anyway, get in on this. This is going to be, it's going to be unbelievable. Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Unmasked. That's at the SiriusXM studios. Friday, September 6th, 3:30. Did he not know he was on the air? You realize that you're more annoying over there than when you're in this room? And you said you were going over there so you could make some phone calls?
Yes.
I haven't seen you made one. You haven't done shit for this other weird booking you're trying to do.
The person
you're a little unhinged. You know, when you go over and check to see if your dick's going to fall off or not.
Yeah.
See if they can give you some ADD medicine, too. Because you're fucking moving around like Cagney over there. You're twitching.
ADD medication's like speed. You can't give me speed. It'll fucking be over for me.
Fuck me over for me. He just said, it'll fuck me over for me.
It'll be over for me.
And also, you got the person's name wrong who, you said wrote the article about you. You acted like it was Duncan Trussell's brother. You called him Bill Trussell. Have you booked Duncan yet?
He'll be coming in next week, yes.
I see him around town all the time. I'm like, you're coming in, right? He goes, I'm trying to get back with Chris. I can't hear from Chris.
Oh, no. That's terrible.
I love Duncan.
Yeah, he's so great. How's he adjusting to New York life?
It's a very difficult thing.
Because he does not seem like a New York dude, and I'm very interested what
He's loving it. He feels awake. He loves having a coat on. And he brought up something, you know what I mean? Because you don't get... Everyone's act like, oh, I want to go where the nice weather is. But if you're in nice weather for too long, he brought up, like years can go by and you're like, wait, what did I do? You know what I mean? Like you don't have that measurement. The weather doesn't help you measure things. And he's a North Carolina guy to begin with. But he's loving it. He's loving the city. And he was saying that he was pretty shocked about the high level of New York City comedy.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, dude, did you even notice that the MCs are good here? He's saying to me, I guess the MCs on the West Coast are not that strong.
Who do they normally put somebody who's like younger, new or something in that position?
When he comes in, we can ask him about that. But yeah, I mean, when you go out to the clubs in New York, it's just a fucking jackhammer. Just a jackhammer of comedy every single set. And you can see it in the young guys that come through here. That, you know, they're like they're doing so many spots and they're just working so much. It's crazy. Here's Chris. in Niagara Falls.
Hey, Ron, I'm really glad to hear you talking about this topic, Second City TV. Not a lot of people know about this show. And I just want to mention one of my favorite skits of all time was they were doing like a high school debate question thing. And there's a question, John Candy keeps buzzing in when he's not supposed to. And finally they ask a question, name an Italian food. And John Candy buzzes in and says, Swedish meatballs. It always cracks me up.
John Candy, like, even when you saw him in that show, that you know that he was just going to be a major fucking star. Just a major crazy star. Because he can get big laughs and he can break your heart, you know? Just break your heart.
Yeah, because there's something, like, you look at him and you just love the shit out of him. You're just like...
It's an aggressive vulnerability. All right, look at Vito, because Vito has the vulnerable thing, but he has zero humor. I mean, zero. Like, not only can you not tell a joke, but you don't understand when a joke has happened anytime around you.
Sometimes I do, but like a minute later. And then I'm like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah. But Vito, here's the thing. Sometimes you tend to love the people who love so hard, right? Vito has an unbelievable, it's an ease for him to love. But to follow a conversation, no. It's almost like, well, the way you feel about your dog. Your dog, you just love your dog. But if you tell your dog, go get my car keys, they don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly it.
Or if you said your dog, who's hosting Saturday Night Live this week? Your dog doesn't know. Is this your SNL week?
This is not. It's going to be next week.
Who's hosting this week?
This week is Kristen Stewart.
Man, your aunt loves her.
I know.
Uncomfortably loves her.
But I'm going to the following week.
That would kill your aunt. Don't even tell her you're going.
I'm not going to even let her know that.
Did you have a choice between the two?
I did. Yeah, because originally
your guy wants to see Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, I get where he's coming from.
He's a renowned leftist.
But I think you've got a good chance of pop-ins.
Like who?
Tina Fey, really? That's it.
He wants to see her because they're both from Upper Darby.
We grew up blocks away from each other.
Oh, did they really?
Yes. And did not know her at all, which he thought was really strange because it was like 2 blocks away.
Didn't know her family, nothing?
Mm-mm.
Well, they're Greek. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Greeks keep to themselves. Mark in Long Beach.
Ronnie, what's up, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
You know, the 3 things I remember as a kid growing up on Saturday night was Saturday Night Live, Don Kirshner's rock concert, and SCTV.
Yeah, that's a pretty good call. I mean, that it was kind of a breakthrough era. And I remember Saturday Night Live used to get pissed all the time because people would be like, SCTV is better than Saturday Night Live.
Well, I just remember staying up till like 3 in the morning because you'd have to go through Don Kirshner's rock concert to see SCTV.
Who do you remember any of the acts that were on Don Kirshner's rock concert?
I remember seeing Kiss for the first time.
That's a good call.
Staring at it like, what the hell is this? But I was going to bring up two sketches from SCTV that used to just leave me on the floor laughing.
Okay.
One was The Fishing Musician with John Candy.
Hilarious.
He would just take this uncomfortable boat trip with a band like the Tubes.
Yeah.
And just go fishing.
I remember that exact one that he was out with the Tubes because they would always have the oddest musical, they would never go for the mainstream thing.
It was so uncomfortable to watch. It was hilarious. And the other one was Tex and Edna's Organ Uporium. You remember that?
Yes, very, very funny. You just reminded me of another weird musical one with Eugene Levy. And again, there's no reason that this should be this funny. So there was this guy called Gino something. He was a Montreal singer. Gino Valetti, something crazy like that. And he had a hit, and it was in the disco era. And his hit wasn't, I think it was called I Just Want to Stop. Maybe, Chris.
I Just Want to Stop.
What was his name?
Gino Vanelli.
Gino Vanelli. All right, perfect. So, and it was like silk shirts times and silk pants and all that, right? And his chest hair would always be out. So he had, a lot. He was just a hairy guy. So Eugene kind of looked like him a little bit, I guess. So he was doing a parody of it. But every time he would go and play a little bit of the song. All right. So every time that he would do the stop, he would turn around and then look back at the audience, and he would have more hair. And, the chest hair was just coming out, and then there was just hair hanging off his face like a wolf man. And, it was just so ridiculously funny. Joey, New Rochelle.
Hey, guys. I know I'm a week late, and I'm sure Gail probably loved it, but that Cicely Strong tribute to Obama on SNL, was that a little awkward and ridiculous? Or
it
what?
was beyond that. It was very, very embarrassing.
I thought it was pretty strange, to be honest.
Yeah.
I know you assume that I love it, but I thought it was a little weird.
And what if Hillary wins? Do you think they do the same thing? I'm guessing no.
Would do what? Sing goodbye to Obama like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, there's probably some truth to that. But there is, where are you calling from, sir?
This is Joey from New Rochelle.
Oh, I didn't know it was you, Joey. How are you?
Yeah, screen caller. Must be a new screen caller today.
Yeah, well, we're working in some new interns, right?
Yeah, we got new interns, yeah.
What, two working today or one?
Yeah, we got two. We have both today. Connor.
Yeah.
And
Connor isn't new.
Well, and then Greg. Greg is our new intern.
Wait, don't stop with the Connor. Connor's been around.
Guy's been around since last semester, yes.
Remember I called him Colin the other day during the promo and everybody laughed at me?
We pointed.
Through stuff. And then I just wanted to take his name right off.
And forget it. You don't get any credit.
By the way, I heard from Flipper and he was like, oh, good. Finally running my Seattle thing. I thought it was something I said. And I don't remember whether his name gets mentioned in it because we fucked something up, though. But not the same way. It was much funnier than the first take.
Yeah, I have the first take.
That's the one in it?
That's the one I'm going to put together, yeah.
But why would we then do a second take if we were happy with the first take?
I just made some edits.
Meds.
Made some edits.
Oh. All right, so who's the new intern?
That's Greg.
Are we going to meet him?
Yeah, we can meet Greg.
Bring him in.
Here he comes.
I can't believe this, but Vito runs that room better than...
Chad is escorting him.
What's happening, buddy?
Hi. How you guys doing?
How's it going?
Good.
Greg, good to see you, pal.
Nice to meet you.
Now, Greg, first of all, don't make goo-goo eyes at Jen. This is a work-related place, so this has to be safe environment.
This is a safe space for her.
Yes.
Exactly.
One thing I won't put up with is something I call work rape.
I mean, he has one rule, but it's a good one. It's like a really good one.
That's a good one to have.
Greg, where are you from?
I'm originally from Sydney, Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not picking up on the accent at all.
It's weird. It goes in and out.
Yeah.
Because I've been here too long. So
you came here as a kid?
I've been kind of all over. So I was born in Sydney, and then when I was 2.5, I moved to London, England.
Yeah.
I was there for about 6 years, and then we moved to San Francisco. There for about 5 years. Then we moved back down to Sydney. Only there for about 10 months because my dad couldn't find a job. And then we moved to Singapore, where I was there for about 3.5 years, and then moved here.
So you have this, your accent is all these different accents put together.
It's all over the place.
That's fascinating, though. So your dad was a drug runner, or what did he do? Have you lived so many places?
He was an accountant.
Really?
Yeah.
But
still is, I guess.
Yeah, he still is. Yeah. But obviously not a very good one, because he had to move from continent to continent to continent. So what got you interested in this business?
Well, I'm a TV production major at Montclair State, and my buddy Nick Harris was an intern here last semester.
Nick at Night. Yeah, that's great. He's one of our favorites of all time.
Yeah, and he told me how much fun he had and how great it was, so I was like, all right, cool.
Sweet boy.
What's that?
He's a sweet boy.
He called him Sweet Boy all last semester because, as you know, he's a very good guy.
Yeah, he's a great,
sweet.
He's a good friend.
Good friend, how, like, you guys go out running together? You go out and partying, having fun?
Yeah.
Taking drugs? What are you doing?
Nah, just,
Just the regular?
Yeah, just the regular.
What's that, draft beer?
Yeah.
No bottles? We're draft beer guys. That's all we do. So TV, perfect for this. Because we got TV stars coming in next week. Maybe I can get you on Shit Creek. Maybe I can do that for you. By the way, read off the cast on Shit Creek because it's a crazy cast. But now you're young, so you might not really know these folks, right?
Yeah, no.
Have you seen the Christopher Guest films?
Best in Show. And
I'm going to make assignments for you of all the greatest stuff in the world I want you to watch.
All right, no problem.
And then I want you to come back and there'll be an oral exam of what you loved about it. All right, who's on this show?
Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Daniel Levy, Eugene's son.
They came up with the show together.
Yeah.
If we get a chance, we ought to have him on, too, with us, if he's in town. Go ahead.
Annie Murphy, Chris Elliott, Jennifer...
First of all, let's just stop for a second. Chris Elliott may be the funniest human that ever lived. And I did an unmask with him. And from trying to suppress laughter, I believe I cracked 2 ribs. And I'm not even making that up. At once, you ever laugh so hard you just see white, like there's nothing else? And I'm like, but I'm hosting the show. I couldn't pull it together. You know what I mean? It was like, you know how if you had a church laugh, it's inappropriate church
It's the best kind of laugh there is.
What if that happened to the priest, though? What if the priest is just laughing?
It should not be.
That's how I felt doing that. All right. Do you got me other stuff from that show, too, so I can rewatch it, Chris?
I'm getting sent links to the new season as well. You'll have them.
Links. It's all links now. You got to watch things on a fucking computer.
It's the cloud, Ron.
And I know it's the cloud, Chris.
I don't think it is.
That's where it's free.
I've got a 90-foot television that I bought.
90 feet.
It's not the cloud. The cloud. These are links. Links are not a cloud.
It's
all in the cloud. Hold on. We're finding out that you don't know what you're talking about. I got a younger guy tell me.
What I'm fucking talking
The cloud is one shared space. A link is a link. That's just a website. That's a portal.
Oh, my God. It's a fucking cloud.
Not everything's a cloud.
Everything's a cloud.
Chris, you heard from Nick at night today, right?
Yes, he texted me. He wanted to say how much he missed us, and he wants to come back soon.
And he wants to make sure that his buddy's being taken care of.
That was nice.
That's why he's a sweet boy.
Sweet.
Now, you guys work across the street from each other now, because he's right over there with Seth Meyers.
Yeah, he
is he loving it over there?
Yeah, he's having a great time.
More than he did with us, you think?
I don't know.
Well, let me just say some of the good things about SiriusXM. Number one, you can smoke in here. Okay? Most places you can.
That's good. That is pretty good.
Another thing, if you see something, take it. See something, take something. So if you see any of the stuff here that you like, take it back to your school. Are you still in school now?
Yeah, I'm a junior.
It's great. That's great. You're fresh-faced. And whose career do you admire most? You want to work in TV, right?
Yeah. But
who do you want to be?
In TV?
Yeah. Are you the next Judd Apatow is what I'm asking?
No, I want to be a producer one day.
Yeah, that's what Judd does. So I'm going to teach you all that.
Bruckheimer.
You like Jerry Bruckheimer movies?
I like his TV shows.
I'll tell you this. If I had an ice pick in my hand, and they say you can either watch one of Bruckheimer's shows or put the ice pick into your throat. I'm not saying I would put the ice pick in my throat. I'd go like this.
There.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute to think about this. What's he do? The CSIs?
Yeah.
I'm not that interested in what fucking hair follicle was left behind.
They were great shows.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, all right, give me your favorite shows of all-time favorite TV shows.
Game of Thrones. I really enjoyed Stranger Things.
Great.
Westworld was phenomenal. Lost was a good one. X-Files.
So you like big, broad shows. You like shows that everybody watches. You don't like these little, like, Louie. You know what I mean? Like Louie. Only a couple of people are watching it.
Yeah, well, if I want to produce a show, I want to make sure everyone watches it and everyone loves it.
Right. Not like Louie does, right?
Not like Louie.
No, Louie is like, I want most people not to watch this show. I'm trying to think of what I'm even watching now. I don't know. Aren't we kind of between TV seasons?
Baskets just started up, so I'm watching that now.
I'm back into it, though.
Yeah.
Second episode, I'm like, okay, I can deal with the depression. First episode, I'm like, I'm just depressed. See, that's not a big enough show for you, Baskets. You even ever hear of it before?
Yeah, I like Zach Galifianakis,
but it only is big
seems
movies.
a little too out there for me.
Right, you like
even for Zach Galifianakis.
broad. Yeah. Don't Talk. We're going to Vegas. That movie.
Right.
Don't talk about it, but we're in Vegas.
Stays here in Vegas.
It stays here in Vegas.
I think
so.
that's
Don't
the name
start
of it.
talking about it as that title. All right. I like the idea that you want to be a big producer, big money guy.
Yep.
Do me a favor when it happens. Let me wet my beak. Let me wet my beak. I don't care what I do on there. Probably, you know what I mean? I don't want too big of a part because I don't like memorizing stuff. You know? Just so, like, here's the script, and then when it gets to Ron just talks off the top of his head.
Okay.
Because I'm like Trump that way. Or maybe I'll just run the social media.
This show, sad.
We got a break, Chris?
Yes, we have comedian Nico White stopping by.
Oh,
Is he here yet?
He's here, yes.
Okay, great. Let's break. Welcome to the team, buddy. I'm going to make sure that this is going to be a fun semester for you.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Matter of fact, I make sure at the end of the semester you're going to have a TV producing deal and a film deal, first look film deal. You know what I mean?
First look, that's good.
Yeah, that's all I can really guarantee. Matter of fact, I'll give everybody a first look deal. If you got a project, I'll look at it first.
Nice.
How's that sound? Vito went to film school.
Yeah, I was a film dude.
And
didn't have a great experience there, though.
Oh, okay.
They didn't like him.
He was raped.
Film school kids
Over and
they all
over.
wanted to make dramatic, artistic movies. I wanted to make comedies.
But why?
Yeah.
There's always a place for comedy, Vito. Why do you act like there isn't?
No, it's not that. It's just that the film school, the people you see you're going to be in the industry with, you realize, oh, these are not the people I want to associate with.
They're
whatsoever.
probably not going to be in the industry.
And then you
either.
guys pick me up off the streets.
Sometimes you get a bad bunch.
Yeah, you might have a bad bunch, but it isn't so much that they didn't like comedy. They didn't like bad comedy.
We all saw my Bigfoot movie. That was a masterpiece.
We all saw it.
Did anybody else say it besides me?
Me and Ron saw it.
Yeah. I saw it, but I saw it with your family, so I was really laughing about everything.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there's Vito up here, right? Look at him. He looks like Bigfoot. Hey, Vito, you're on the screen. What a massive family you have for being an only child.
Yeah, so many, like, second, third cousins still count as, like, first cousins with Italians. Yeah. So, like, those are cousins of cousins. Those are
This is the other great thing with Italians. You can be a cousin and still date. Not everybody's that way.
That's fine.
Let's break. Right back, Bennington. Oh, yeah. He's great. Hey, it's the Bennington Show. Our buddy Nico White has just stopped in here. He's going to be performing at the Improv Comedy Club in San Antonio Wednesday, March 22nd through Sunday, March 26th. Nico, good to see you, man.
Good to see you also. Thank you all for having me.
You and I were talking a couple moments about the changing times that we live in right now.
It's weird, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm black if nobody can tell, but it's one of those things where it's like seeing Obama go as classy as he went.
Yeah.
I loved it, but there was also a part of me that wanted him to be real vindictive because like picture that if it's you in that situation. You about to give up your job that you tried your hardest to help people with. Now the person who talked the most shit about you doing your job is the person about to get your job.
That's true.
What would your last speech look like? You know what I'm saying? He was so supportive of a dude that said, you know, he's not from this country and all that shit. If that were me, as petty as I am, my last speech would have been so quick. My fellow Americans, suck my dick.
Yeah.
Drop the mic and walk away.
See, that would probably have kept you from being, elected in the first place.
That would have kept me from being
I like him. He's a little petty, though.
Oh, way petty. Way petty. But it's one of those things where it's like I'm looking at what's happening now, and I've never seen people so like sensitive and like afraid. You know what I mean? Even the people that support him, people that support him are so tired of hearing about how bad he is that they're just looking for an escape, like a drug or something.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like on the side, because I'm liberal in most senses, but all senses. But it's one of those things where even on our side, don't become the people you hate. You know what I mean? We gave him so much stuff for doing the imitation of the handicapped guy.
Right.
And then on his inauguration day, I seen people going to his son. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
For whatever reason they was going to his son. So don't become the people you hate. Now, if you're one of those people that didn't judge like I did, then you get free reign to say whatever you want.
Right.
So I don't know if there's anything wrong with Barron. I don't think that there is. He's 10, but.
Yeah, I think he's, to me, any kid never chose what his parents
Never.
chose. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if the kids dad is a crack dealer. He has no choice in it. His dad is running Microsoft. He has no choice in it.
Yeah. Also, those are like starting at 10 and going to 14. Was that about where Chelsea Clinton was? It's like the awkward years in the White House is going to suck.
Chelsea also came to his defense, too. So just leave the kid alone.
It's just like, it sucks.
I don't know why. I think it only happened that night because he was tired or whatever. But the thing is, he is a good-looking kid. He's the heir to a fortune. He's going to be okay.
He's going to be fine.
Yeah.
His name is Baron. He has the name of like an odd king. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's going to be fine. He's going to live better lives than anybody talking about him. My whole thing is if you're going to tell somebody, okay, you can't make fun of this thing, then you are now the person that's making fun of that same type of thing.
Right.
You're kind of in the wrong for that. Unless you're the type of person like I said, like I am, who made fun of nobody, then you get free reign to say whatever you want.
Do whatever you want to do.
But in turn, if you voted for Donald Trump because you said your biggest issue was PC America, then you probably ought to step off too and let people make jokes where they're going to make jokes.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where their sensitivity was for a very long time.
It definitely was, and that's one of the things that bothered me because if you're being sensitive because people are saying what they want to say, now people are saying whatever they want to say, shut up and deal with it. I wouldn't get on the elevator with the kid.
Now, you're in the clubs every night.
Yeah.
People are still kind of quiet, I think, when it comes to Trump talk.
Support. It depends on where you are, because I was just in, I was headlining at the brokerage out in Long Island, and people out there that support them, they support them, and they don't mind telling you they support them. When you're in a liberal place like New York City, it's like, who supports Trump? It's a hush over the crowd. And they'll look at each other, and it's like, nobody will clap, and I'll say over the mic, that's statistically impossible. There's no way nobody voted for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, Nick DiPaolo has done his new special from Long Island, and Nick is conservative, and it was a very pro-Trump. It's interesting to see a pro-Trump audience record it.
Really?
At a comedy show, Because last night Jeff Ross just did the thing of comedy is the new resistance, that he was calling on comedy to resist.
Well, it's one of those things where I feel like we are the resistance, but that's in any time, not just with Trump being who he is. That's in any time. If there's ever anything bad going on, people like to come to see people like comedians because we're the last group that can still talk about this stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's openly. Beyonce can't be as open as I can be because Beyonce's going to get criticized. I didn't know so many people didn't know she was black until she did the Super Bowl.
Right.
You know people lost their minds. I seen one, what was that article? Something like, there was some article I read, somebody sent to me, and it said, kudos to Beyonce for being so unapologetically black. What does that mean? She's never apologized for being black.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I showed up black, but hope you guys enjoy the show.
It's like if you couldn't take that from Beyonce, I can imagine what's going to happen when they find out what color The Rock really is. But yeah, people look to us for, they come to a club, they like to hear your opinions on some stuff like that, and then sometimes they don't. You know what I mean? I had a lady tell me, I didn't want to hear about politics because there's just so much of it, and I'm like, well, that's kind of unfair to the performer because you're telling me to be numb to the world around me.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? We all living and we'll be all right, but if you're going to be a good person, just be a good person. Stop looking for these arbitrary pats on the back. Just be a good person. Help people. Like, I understand it, but they got this whole safety pin thing. You know what I'm saying? And somebody sent it to me it was in the Huffington Post, the White Bible. You know what I'm saying? But it's a movement that I understand. Young millennials, they had a march or whatever, and like a lot of young white kids, they put on the safety pin. That was to indicate to minorities, hey, if it goes down, I'm a safe space for you. And it's one of those things where I get the message, but I don't know if that's the right way to do it, because let's say the imaginary race war, let's say it happens, right? Mm-hmm. That means minorities will get killed for being minorities. Then they'll also kill white people for being on our side. Hashtag the ones wearing safety pins. So if you don't want to get killed, all you would have to do is take off the safety pin.
Yeah, right.
It's not that easy for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it, but just be good people. Just be good people.
Safety pins seem to me like it should still belong to the punk rock people from the 70s.
They're just like, you co-opted that.
Where do you get safety pins from, though? Like, now? I didn't know those were still a thing.
That's true. I don't know where the safety pin store is.
That's what got me. I'm like, how many grandmas did y'all rob to get the unique number of safety pins?
Yeah, who knew it was like the left was so crafty? I felt the same way about the pink pussy hats during so like people were saying, oh, did you buy a pink pussy hat? No, they didn't buy those. Those are knit. That was like a movement, and like I was like, I didn't know that many people knit.
This is the thing. If you knitted those, please make a website and put those up for sale.
Yeah.
And that way for the next march or the next rally or whatever. Oh, there's a website?
Yeah.
Pussyhatproject.com. That's hilarious. Pussyhatproject.com. How much are they? I'm gonna buy one now.
So like I think the way this like person had set it up, so she put out the, what do you call it, like the pattern?
Yeah.
And she was like, okay, and this is free. Anyone can use this pattern. And then she, I think, also made a way that you could contact, like, I can't sew and I can't knit, but maybe some grandma from the middle of the country who wants to be there but can't make it, she'll knit you your hat and mail it to you.
That is the most adorable, ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It's kind of adorable.
That's amazing. Whoever did that, kudos to you.
I'll tell you, you could give me forever and I wouldn't be able to knit. Like, you could teach me every single day.
Likewise.
And it's just not going to happen. Never going to be able to knit.
To crochet. You ever see people like...
Oh, yeah. My grandmothers.
Yeah, my mom used to be real good. And they'll do that just to pass the time.
Right.
And their stress level is so much lower than yours.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about threading that stuff, but it makes you so zen.
Yes, it does. Although I don't get it. I would feel crazy just thinking... All right, I've got this much, and I got to do an entire blanket. Because my great-grandmother used to just give me a crocheted blanket every time I saw her.
Right.
Just like, here's another one.
And a full one that like fit the bed and the whole 9 yards. That's amazing.
And they just like do that super fast while they're watching TV or while they're talking to you. And you're like, how do you just... It's just muscle memory? You just like have that memorized in your fingers?
And then what do you know when to stop it? How do you know when it's long enough to be
They look at it and they go, well, I got more of this than I have of anything else. I think it's time. You know what I mean?
And then how the hell do they do those tassels? I mean, what's that move?
Tassels?
They got tassels on the end of the I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
Well, they also come from a generation that we're not a part of.
That's true.
It's a generation of patience and fortitude.
Right.
I don't have that type of patience to knit anything, and much less crochet.
Yeah, there wasn't that much on TV back then. There was only a couple of stations,
We need to find something new.
Yeah. Well, you ever like watch a movie and they'll show people on a Sunday that they would just be like next to a river, just sitting. You could never do that today. You would never have people just sit quietly for 10, 12 hours and just relax.
The thing that I think is so crazy that we don't have anymore is like up with the sun and down with the sun. Like, like the human race used to wake with the sun
and go
then
to sleep at a certain time.
Because it was dark.
Well, there was
so what was there to do?
There was also a lack of media at a certain point. From what I understand, from like back when my parents or my grandparents were young, whenever TV first started coming around, it would go off at a certain time.
Yeah, it used to go off about 1:30 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Look at how dignified that is. that would never happen today.
And here's what they used to do. They used to, first, before it happened, they would play the FBI's most wanted list. They would just show you 10 pictures of scary people, 10 drawings of scary people.
Something to go to bed.
Yeah, like here it is. And then they would run the national anthem. And you'd have the national anthem, and then you went into a test pattern, and then what?
That's a weird kind of programming that they were doing to y'all back then.
It is. Now, though, it's just really infomercials if you don't have movie channels.
Yeah. 1:30, 2 a.m., that's when you need TV. That's exactly the time that you need TV.
Yeah, and that's what it's become. It's become now, or you're on your phone. I've stayed up on nights where I've had important stuff to do in the morning. Yeah. And I messed around and get on YouTube or something, and then clicking through other videos and just letting it go to the next video. Then you look up, you're like, oh shit, how is it 7 o'clock already?
I know.
You wasted your whole night. Do y'all have any videos that like really get to you? Like the ones that you go to feel an emotion?
Oh, no. What do you got?
So I like, if ever I really want to feel something, I watch the videos of the military people coming home to their families. That shit. If you ever want to cry, look that up.
Well, it has now become part of entertainment where it's a halftime show. You know what I mean? It's a halftime show for a football game where people are just sitting there, and then the there'll be some kid who thinks he's sending a message to his dad,
right?
But then his dad's really in the big furry costume.
Comes out from the mascot. There's this mom. She's been gone for like a year, 2 years. Her son hasn't seen her, and he's playing basketball. She walks in, he's taking a free throw. They call a foul on him wrongly or whatever.
Yeah.
So he's standing at the free throw line. He's about to shoot. And then she said, he misses. And she goes, oh, don't worry about it. He turns around, sees his mother, and runs off crying. And I said, you know what? That's nice. That's nice.
And you do that instead of sleeping. You just watch these things instead of sleeping.
I watch those. I'm a big anime nerd. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'll be up all night watching Naruto and stuff like that. I'm a big kid. You know what I mean?
Chris, you roll into that too, right?
Yeah, anime and then like hentai. Hentai
you
thing.
Fucking weirdo.
Nobody was discussing that, Chris.
Hentai. This is Chris.
Yes.
What's up, brother?
What's up, Nico?
How are you? It's good to meet you in person.
Very good.
Hell yeah.
Chris, hentai is just when the cartoons have sex?
It's anime porn. There's a story and a plot line, but then they fuck each other.
No. There's no plot line. There's no plot line.
There's definitely plot lines.
So you watching the ones with the story?
Yeah. It feels good. You know, it makes me invest in the anime characters or the demons or whatever that are fucking.
Yeah, a lot of times they're tentacle dudes, like tentacle monsters.
Yeah, all that stuff is weird. I got a little bit of a beef with like the anime folks because my name Nico N-E-K-O in Japanese that means cat. So like if you ever Google just Nico White, you gonna see a bunch of pictures of like white cats or whatever. But look it up. This is how crazy it is. But it's not like regular cats. They do this thing where they'll take the cats and they'll draw them. They'll give them titties and fucking lingerie.
Yeah.
So you got pages upon pages of that. And like you gotta scroll down like maybe 2 or 3 pages before you see me. And the first picture of me, I look so disappointed.
How did your parents come up with that name?
So this is I don't know if this is good. Yep, look at that. Look at that. I mean, no damn. Now look at the first picture of me though. Look at that. Look at how angry I am. But it's one of those things where my parents got my name from some Steven Seagal movie. And
really?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Yeah.
But they decided to spell it different. So instead of spelling it N-I-C-O, N-I-K-K-O, they went with N-E-K-O. So my full name is Nico White.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I get more flack about the white part than I do about Nico.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, because people don't put this together. They thought when I get on stage, people come up to me and it's like, so is your last name Whitmore? I'm like, no, motherfucker, it's White. Like the color, W-H-I-T-E. Well, how did you get it? I beg your pardon?
Yeah.
How did I get it? The same way most people do. You're born, you get the one your father had, and then you move on with the rest of your life.
No one is looking at Lewis Black and saying, this is a lie.
Come on. Tell me the truth.
Really, buddy?
Yeah. Lewis Black is, isn't he doing another Broadway thing?
I believe so, yes.
But he told me that he was there during the famous Martin Luther King I Have a Dream speech.
Oh, God.
And I had never met another human being.
Right.
Right now that seems almost like hearing that somebody was at the Gettysburg Address.
Yeah.
Right.
But he was a kid and his parents took him.
That's amazing. I can only imagine what that felt like. I wish I could have been there for Obama's Yes We Can speech.
Yeah.
Because I watched that 1,000 times. And man, that shit, it's hard to inspire like that. You know what I mean? When you see a dude like young dude, that inspiring, and then we change into this shit.
Well, this is the thing about Obama. He stopped that kind of stuff once he became president. You know what I mean? And they expected Trump to kind of pivot the same way and not do the thing that got him elected. But my feeling is Obama's bringing that act back in a couple of years to help other people. And people are going to forget what a great public speaker he was. I think that he already started to a little bit towards the end of his presidency, so I definitely think he's going to be, it's going to be a big part of his.
People miss him like crazy already. Again, Huffington Post, I see, they were asking they said, hold on, wait, matter of fact, I'll put it up, but it was something on the lines of, Obama, this is not the time for you to be silent. And it's like, Really, son?
Yeah, he's gotta walk away for a while.
He just got out after 8 years. He's been off for 8 days.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And already you calling him back? And it's disrespectful to the timeline that he laid out. Because Obama himself already said, look, give me a year. Give me a year to build my family, write my book, raise my kids, and I'll be right back to you. But after 8 years of that disrespect, I wouldn't come back. I'm sorry.
Well, he'll come back when, when there's some candidate that he really wants to get behind or something like that, or some cause he wants to get behind.
Right.
But I can't imagine what it feels like to come out of that job and then just be in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like, you're just sitting on the beach.
Yep.
You're just like, your leg is still going.
No Secret Service.
Right.
You know what I mean? No, none of that extra shit. This is the article, by the way.
And plus, he's already seen, like, all the scary shit that we don't get to see because it was stopped in time.
Absolutely.
So he's just sitting there thinking, like, I know this shit happening.
Right.
I just don't know what it is right now. I used to hear every morning.
He also seen, like, that dossier that they released on Trump before he got into office. So that means he's equipped with all that information.
Well, this is a weird thing, too, over the weekend. Somebody who had released some stuff about Trump in Russia, it was a spy, and they released stuff to us, was found dead in the back of a car. And I think they said somebody over there who had released stuff about Hillary was also found dead. So, like, that the KGB or whatever they're called now could just dispose of the body and no one would know. They wanted the dude sitting in the back of the car, like Goodfellas. Hanging from a hook in the fucking in the frozen food section.
They probably wrote a message on his head in his own blood. Silence is golden. It's crazy out here, but again, I just don't like seeing people so sad. You know what I mean? You got to live your life. You're going to die anyway.
Well, everybody has, there's two things that give people uneasy feelings. And that's when any president changes because it feels like life has changed.
Indeed.
And any year that ends in a 0. And everyone's like, oh my God.
Everything's
you know what I mean? It's the 20s that people are going to, freak out.
When 0, I know when I was in junior high school, all the years ending in 6 were real important. Like 6/6/2006. I had my bully back in junior high school was giving like a sermon, and he was like, we're going to hear the trumpets roar, and then the world's going to end on 6/6/2006. And for 3 months, you couldn't tell me we weren't all going to die on 6/6/2006. And the Omen came out that day. I remember. And I didn't sleep for a week. Because you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to hear a trumpet and God wasn't going to come down and blow this whole shit away.
Every once in a while, there's some group that thinks it's the end times, and they're working towards that. And of course, you don't believe them, but there's an uneasy feeling.
12/12/12.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one like a few years ago. I can't even keep up because there's one every couple years, but like it was being so talked about that I was like, what if they were right? Wouldn't it be really
the Mayan?
We're like, oh yeah, maybe it was like the Mayan.
The end of the Mayan calendar.
Yeah, that was the one.
It was windy that morning and I got freaked out. Like, it's windier than usual.
What
is this shit ending?
Yeah. But if it ended, what could you do but die? That's all you gonna do.
It almost seems like it would be nicer if everyone just died together. That way you don't miss anything after you die. Here we all go.
Nah.
Nico White's in studio. Nico's performing at the Improv Comedy Club in San Antonio Wednesday, March 22nd through Sunday, March 26th. Go to rivercentercomedyclub.com for tickets and more information. And on Twitter, it's at Nico_White93.
That's NEKO White 9.
Where do you work in the city when you're hanging in the city?
So when I'm in the city, I work most of the clubs. There's 2 that I'm not past that yet. That's the Cellar, but we're working on that, and then another one called Eastville. But outside that, most of the spots. So Caroline's is one that I'm at a lot. New York Comedy Club, of course, stand-up New York comic strip. Tonight, as a matter of fact, if you ain't doing nothing, I'll be in New York Comedy Club, 241 East 24th Street, between 2nd and 3rd Avenue, 9 o'clock show.
That's a club that's really come back in the last couple of years.
It's crazy, man. It was the little club that nobody expected to come up the way that it did. But after it changed the ownership, they've really done a lot with the spot. And it's one of those things where the spirit there is so good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The new owners, and I love that place. I have a deep appreciation for New York Comedy Club.
Amy is booking that room now, and she's got a lot of young people
Yep.
In and out there. And then, of course, Emilio just did a great job with it.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's harder to turn a place around than it is to open a new place.
Right.
You know?
Because you got to wash off whatever was there before you, if there was anything negative, and then you got to make your own identity with the spot.
Now, I heard Tracy Morgan popped in there the other night. Somebody told me this on the street.
Right.
And that Tracy went in the green room and was very hard on everybody, going, this is why you haven't made it yet. This is why you're not a name yet.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm like, dude, you got a Tracy Morgan story. Don't get mad about that.
Right.
What could be funnier than having a Tracy Morgan story? This is what everybody wants.
It's certainly more interesting than Tracy Morgan. I met him and he just said, "You're great."
Yeah.
And that's something that'll, light a fire up under you for a little while.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember when I first met him, I had my joke book out, and I'm writing my stuff. I'm about to go home. I had school the next day. Before I could put it in my bag, he saw me. He was like, "Yo, that's a book. Put the fucking book away." But he was talking with so much bass in his voice. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Put the book away." Yeah. And you could tell he was being as good of a person as he possibly could. Right. But at the time, I'm like 16. You know what I'm saying? And he's talking to me in a way that my pops don't even talk to me. But it was like, what, you gonna say something to Tracy Morgan? No, you ain't. So I put it away. You know what I'm saying? But I've met him a couple times after that. Decent guy. You know what I'm saying? Good dude.
Oh, yeah. What part of town did you grow up in?
I'm a Harlem native. So me and my mom and my pops, we lived in the Bronx for a while. Then we made an official move to Harlem when my grandma got sick. Yeah. But I claim Harlem all the way.
Well, now so do a lot of white people.
We call that gentrification in the old streets. But it's the only difference now is that it's so safe, and the new neighbors don't really know what it used to be like. Like everybody's so. I don't mind the safety, but it's like a little danger adds a little character. Right. You know what I'm saying? And it adds a little bit of appreciation for the real nice days. You know what I'm saying? Like I get out the train station 3 a.m. whistling. I would have never done that 6 years ago. 6 years ago, you knew you don't make a sound because you don't give up your location until you get to projects where you're from. But, it was what it was. But I like it. You know what I'm saying? I just wish that the people moving in could really appreciate what it used to be to what it is. Because they'll tell you, well, we're here for the culture. And it's like, you know nothing about the culture. Right. You know nothing about it. 125th Street looks like a shopping mall now.
It really does. And it's I don't think people, I mean, if you want to look at it, the historical thing of it, that being kind of the black capital for like 150, 200 years. Yeah. I mean, this is something that has been around forever. Yeah. And now, within the last couple of years, is changing.
It's changing drastically, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason to this, but at least what I've noticed, it seems like the pattern of gentrification in Harlem has been, first, you'll see the supermarkets start to close. Then you see these massive indictments where the police will come in and take all the criminals off the street. Then after that, you'll see new supermarkets open, but they're all organic. They're all like chain supermarkets. Whole Foods or we got a Fresh Market or something in the hood now. And then the supermarket that's for everybody, like the Fine Fairs, the C-Towns, the quality of their groceries goes down 1,000%. I went in there to buy a sweet plantain, and the shit's where it's black as my sneakers. You know what I'm saying? And that never used to be the case. Yeah. After that, rent goes up because the property value went up. Sure. Rent goes up, and the rent is skyrocketing. Even in the projects, for what I pay for the projects, I shouldn't smell piss in the elevators. You know what I'm saying? But, it is what it is. And they try and who knows how long projects will be around.
Yeah, I mean, the Manhattan real estate is just worth so much now.
Yeah, and those buildings in particular are so... If there was a fire in the apartment next to me, if I kept the windows open, we could stay in the house and go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? Just have a heated wall for the night. Right. Because the fire will not spread. No matter what, it will not spread. Those walls are made out of concrete and brick and steel. That's it. Your apartment will be fine. We had a fire in the compactor. Now, most buildings, especially the new buildings, that happen, you're gonna be out of a building. Our building, that shit burnt for like an hour. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Everybody stayed in their house. You kept the windows closed. And the fire department came, they knocked it out. But people want that. You know what I'm saying? People want that. It's going to be hard to justify to the people that live. I'm on 112th Street. The people that live on 116th Street. It's going to be hard to justify them how they paying $5,000 a month for whatever they living in. And I got a bigger place. You know, I'm paying a lot less than that so far, knock on wood.
Well, the other thing that about Harlem is that there's so many beautiful townhouses there that you wouldn't be able to build like they're built today. And once that was like really discovered and thought about, then, you know, real estate people thought there's a lot of money to be flipping this stuff.
There's a documentary I watched. I wish I could remember the name, but it was about how the crack era influenced the brownstones in like Harlem, because brownstones are beautiful,
gorgeous.
When you see those old movies like Harlem Nights and stuff like that, and you see the old school brownstones, that's what they used to really look like. You know what I'm saying? When the crack era hit, the way those places be ran in, turned into crack houses and stuff like that, people were selling their real estate for like $50. It got so bad, but once it changed, once it flipped again, things became safe, you wouldn't be able to. It would cost you $2 million to buy one of those things.
Yeah, and it'll probably be worth $10 million in 10 years.
Yeah,
that's the thing. That if you've got that kind of money to go, it's just an investment. It's a brilliant investment to be able to pull off.
And because it's just like great architecture, it's just it'll always sell when the neighborhood flips, always.
Absolutely. And you got all the history that you could bank off of. You could be like, you know, well, the Apollo's down here and this is down here, all that stuff.
Yeah, the jazz history, the writing history, there's an amazing history to that, a political history. But will it disappear? And like, gentrification happens with kind of the most positive thing, because young people weren't raised with the same kind of prejudice, so they're like, oh, we can get off the subway anywhere. We can get apartments, where their parents were like, that's their neighborhood.
96th Street. That's when the train station will become, it's like all the, especially like middle-aged to older white people be off the train by that time. 96th Street, when you heard next stop 103rd Street, then everybody was able to sit down, and then it got real black and Hispanic going all the way up. But now, I had one of my best friends used to live on 110th Street, and he lived across the street from the projects, and there was a big police thing right in front of his building. He was like, but he was so whimsical. He didn't even know what that was for. He thought they were just like, you know, surveillance. So I'm like, nah, that's because in the projects across the street from you, people are getting killed every 6 seconds.
Right.
None of that even crossed his mind.
There was literally a song called Across the 110th Street, right? That was, go ahead and pick it up. And it was a movie, was based on it too. And it was basically like everything changes once you cross 110th Street. I mean, that was a known thing.
They're not even calling it Harlem anymore. They're calling it, what was that shit? Upper Manhattan.
Upper Manhattan.
And they were talking about, because you know that building that blew up in Harlem, right? That's like 3 blocks from me. So that was on 116th Street. That's Spanish Harlem. They say in Upper Manhattan. And I can't tell you the amount of rage that I felt. Because it's little stuff like that that pulls away the character that I'm talking about. This is the song right here?
You know what they're calling the Bronx now?
What's that?
The Piano District.
What?
Yeah, they're calling like the South Bronx the Piano
They're
District.
calling the South Bronx the peasantry. The Piano District?
Yeah, and they're trying to sell it as like an...
That's so disrespectful. That's so disrespectful. You ain't gonna be able to gentrify the Bronx like you did Harlem, though. Because those people have a stronger sense of community and ownership up there. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. The great Bobby Womack.
I'm gonna download that right now.
Yeah.
It's called Across 110th Street?
Across 110th Street, Bobby Womack.
God bless y'all. Hell yeah. I like y'all style up here.
Yeah.
That was smooth as hell. Nico White's in the studio. Nico will be at New York Comedy Club tonight in New York City. And Nico will be performing at the Improv Comedy Club in San Antonio Wednesday, March 22nd through Sunday, March 26th. Go to rivercentercomedyclub.com for tickets and more information.
Boom.
Now, this is also from the movie Across 110th Street, which was called Blaxploitation films, they used to call it, in the 70s. And there was this real run. Quentin Tarantino kind of based his career on those kind of gangster movies that were made back then.
You want to know one of my favorite images was because it was something about the blaxploitation films, and I forget the dude's name, but he was a pimp he was walking and this is still the flyest shit ever. He was walking in these goldfish, like it was like a goldfish tank, his shoes.
Yeah.
And he had on these shoes that were made of plastic. They had water and goldfish in them. How fly is that?
One of the, I can't remember who, but one of the Pittsburgh Steelers actually picked up that look. Back in the Steel Curtain 70s.
Yo, how fly is that?
Well, go back and watch Walt Frazier's entire look in the 70s when he played with the Knicks, because he had a different suit every night, and it was super fly everywhere that he went. But I had heard from people, well, even to this day, he can't walk down the street in New York without everybody just yelling and screaming. He's one of the most beloved people.
Absolutely.
Because he laid that all out. And he could also play ball. I mean, he was phenomenal.
Right.
Chris, you ever watch the blaxploitation films?
Oh yeah, my dad loved Kung Fu, and he loved blaxploitation.
Yeah, those were the same times, as a matter of fact.
And wow, that's something to think about. And this is the 70s. What were they like? Because I hear so much about the 70s. What was they like?
Well, those films. Well, first of all, those were and Tarantino always calls them grindhouse films, because you could go to Times Square and you could see 2 or 3 movies on one ticket.
Right.
And it would be blaxploitation was the first time that the gangsters were winning. Against the cops. So the cops would always be like this racist Southern cop, and then the blaxploitation guys would be pimps. The hero would be a pimp drug dealer.
Yeah. I mean, the craziest shit is like the hero of the film, like slaps a woman, and you're like, he's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy.
He knows how to treat his lady. Dolomite, I love you.
I mean,
Dolomite.
Dolomite is one of the most famous.
Yeah.
He's tough but fair. That's Dolomite.
Tough but fair. You said it, not me.
Shaft, of course, was another one of the real big ones. There was a movie I remember called Black Caesar that was kind of based on the Roman Empire.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, man.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that. Especially, like, I don't know, it's not a, blaxploitation film, but like Harlem Nights. You know
yeah.
That's one of my favorite movies. And it's crazy to me, like, something like that hasn't been done since.
Right. Well, that was comedy royalty. You had the 3 generations.
That's what I'm saying.
Of great comics together.
Red Fox, Pryor, and Eddie Murphy.
And Eddie Murphy.
Della Reese was the hidden gem in that movie, though.
Yeah. And people were pissed because Eddie shot off her pinky toe. So the critics were doing it as a violence against women.
Yeah.
But you laugh your ass off.
Yeah.
In that scene.
To this day, that's still one of the flyest scenes, because you can cite the whole violence against women thing. She was beating the shit out of Eddie Murphy. Beating the shit out of him. Nothing about Della Reese was weak.
Here is Don in Jersey.
Ronnie V.
Yeah.
Frenchie Fuqua was the Pittsburgh Steeler.
Frenchie Fuqua, yeah. He was the one wearing those shoes.
That's right.
Oh, he was wearing the shoes with the goldfish in them?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And he was, a member of those championship Steelers teams.
Ah, gotcha.
Right. And back to across 110th Street, one of the greatest scenes of all time in movies is when the retribution was coming down, the mob was going after these guys for robbing the gambling bank. They took a guy and stuck his head in a pants presser and pressed his head.
Really?
You remember that? Oh, yeah. That was...
Bro, you were into some fucked up imagery, my friend.
Let me tell you something. That is one of the best movies of the 70s.
What's the name of it?
And across 110th Street.
That's the movie that the song came from. Yeah.
Gotcha. Across 110th Street.
It's a movie. It's a song. It's fantastic.
Shit is everything.
It's a way of life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of the best blaxploitation movies of all time. Yaphet Kotto was in it. It was a great movie.
But, the other thing that was kind of cool about blaxploitation films is that the writers, the directors, the producers were all black.
All black.
All black. That's rare now.
Yeah, and that's something that's so needed, because it's a whole different generation of us who know. Yeah. Like today, when you look at writers' rooms and stuff like that, and you see the on black shows, and it's like, we know how to talk to both now. You know what I'm saying? Because we grew up in a time where we're more integrated than we've ever been. So I know how to talk to white people just as much as I know how to talk to black people. But you'll see things and it's like, oh no, wait, we don't even talk like this anymore. Who's writing it? Then
I know.
Then when you look at the picture, shit'll blind you. You gotta put on shades. You know what I mean? But
when my kids were little and they're watching Robin Williams on TV and he's doing an impression of a black street guy and it's like, hey baby, give me, and they're like, why is he doing that? Black people don't talk that way. And I go, they kind of did though at one time. Like when Robin was younger, there was a hey baby, give me. But they
jive.
Yeah. Black culture changes so fast. And the interesting thing is the people who know less about black culture is always young black guys because they're working on the next thing. So when you go, and when I was a kid, you went and saw Blues Guys. It was all white people in the audience. Yeah. Because black people had moved on to the next thing.
Right. But that's the thing about being the trendsetter, you know what I mean? Because once people find out what we were all into, it's like, oh, y'all into that? Now we on something else already.
So you're already moving. You feel that responsibility to find the next thing.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, because we not going to lose it, but it feels like we're going to lose it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just look at Look at the what the hell is this kid's name? Like the Damn Daniel and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
That dude got so famous and it's like, hold on, bro. We've been having people, even just little stars coming out saying things on the news. Like that little Anton Dodson, whatever. Hide your kids, hide your wife. You know what I'm saying? They raping everybody out here. He couldn't get an interview like that. You know what I'm saying? He did Wendy Williams. This dude did Ellen. So it's like we gotta keep moving because we won't get that credit. Or at least that's the feeling that's there. It's always present.
Nico White's in studio. He'll be performing at the Improv Comedy Club in San Antonio Wednesday, March 22nd through Sunday, March 26th. Go to rivercentercomedyclub.com for tickets. And he'll be at the New York Comedy Club tonight.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Nico, great to meet you, buddy. I hope we do this again.
Brother.
You're a lot of fun.
Y'all are a lot of fun. Thank you all for having me, all right? God bless and be safe.
This is Bennington.
Bennington is back, and we're with Annie Letterman. Annie will be performing at the Draft House Comedy Club in Washington, D.C. Thursday, February 2nd through Saturday, February 3rd. That's not a
Yes, that's
thing.
the 3rd.
She'll be there the 3rd, the 2nd through the 3rd, February 4th. Go to drafthouseComedy.com for tickets and additional information, and you can follow her on Twitter at Annie Letterman.
So, good to see you, buddy.
Hey, I know. I didn't see you last night. I usually see you every night.
I was hoping that you would have bought back that big thing of cheese balls that you were eating all week.
I mean, can you imagine? I would have to check that.
Yeah.
I mean, I realized, my friend and I realized that the two best snacks on earth for savory, it's cheese ball puffs. Because you don't remember what they taste like. I'm telling you right now, you don't remember. It packs such a punch.
Yeah.
And then Oreos for the sweet ones. Oreo is a perfect fucking snack.
So you guys had to be high as hell.
Yeah, we were a little stoned. Come on.
Her Snapchat was just filled of, oh my God, just holding it up. This is the best thing ever.
We laughed. We saw the thing of cheese balls.
Yeah.
We were at like CVS. I was in San Francisco, and my friend and I were getting late night snacks and nail polish and for a slumber party at the hotel. And we saw the thing of cheese balls. And we like made some jokes and we laughed, and then we got in our car, started driving, turned back around and went in and bought the cheese balls. Like, what were we thinking not getting them? I mean, we didn't make too much of a dent into them, but
yeah.
I like, how do you approach the joke of being like, wouldn't that be crazy if we totally got those? Yeah, that'd be like kind of weird, but we should do it just to be funny, right? No, we're getting the fucking cheese balls.
It was like, should we take an Instagram picture with this? And then it was like, I'm holding it. I'm like, it just feels like I'm at home right now. I just want to breastfeed this giant tub of cheese ball.
And then you were flying in as the protests were going on.
Yeah.
So you were flying. This is what's always crazy about social media. Is like, in the old days, you would have just got off a plane and went, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But she's watching it going, oh man, I'll be there soon.
And you know how the go-go in-flight knocks you off 18 times? So I probably spent $150 because I wanted to watch the live feed of the protest. It was cool.
Yeah.
But by the time I got down, everyone was gone.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they had ended it, which was like, I guess, cool for everyone.
How was San Francisco? Fun?
Yeah, San Francisco was fun, but I didn't realize I was only going for one day. I had 3 shows in one night, which I only got to make 2, but it was for the San Francisco Sketch Fest.
Yeah.
And I just didn't read the email, so it's like I thought I was doing a full weekend of shows. I was like getting ready to promote it. And then, you know, I had someone got my ticket for me, my manager's assistant, and I looked at the flights and I was like, oh, I'm here for less than 24 hours. What a nightmare. I didn't even get to walk across the bridge and contemplate jumping. I'm like, who am I? I did get I got a bread bowl with
chowder.
That jizz, the
jizz chowder.
Clam jizz.
I love San Francisco, though. I think it's a real city.
Yeah,
it was a real city.
It was really fun to be there for a sec. I mean, I would have loved to have done more, but my friend just happened to be there, so that was cool. We got to hang out.
New Yorkers tend to like San Francisco. Like, I think that there's something like LA is just too weird. Like, we're two opposites, I think.
LA is like Long Island. It feels like, oh, this goes on for a long time.
Or like that
LA is like going to get more Botox because you said that. LA is like Long Island. How dare you?
But like everyone goes there and they're like, yeah, it's weird. They've got their own weird thing. But I think New Yorkers go to San Francisco and go, oh, I get it. I could do this.
I always felt like, because I grew up in Philly and I remember visiting San Francisco and thinking that it was the most East Coast vibe of a
Yeah, that's what it is. Like they have something.
Right.
I met a trans woman at that CVS. It would just happen to be like everyone was trans in the place and there were cheese balls. And she was saying that she loves New York, but she thinks that San Francisco is much nicer.
Nicer in terms of the people or the area?
She said the people are nicer.
Yeah, that's easy. I mean, you can go anywhere and say that about everyone's about nicer than New York.
I don't think so. I had a man on the subway today who had like some sort of camera stuff with him, equipment, and I'm walking around, my hands are all full, and he like pulled all this stuff over, moved over for me. It was just, he changed my day. I was like, thank you so much. He was hot. He was like this hipster black guy, and he was like, I don't know, he was just, I was staring at his phone and all of his music was good. I just wanted to turn and be like, you're perfect. You could be my first black guy. But he was gone in a blink of the eye.
I fully embarrassed myself this morning on the subway. Like, I could have decided that was going to ruin my day, but I was like, I'm just going to leave it behind. But I was having train issues, and then I decided like I'm going to like kind of pull an audible and like get off here and try to transfer. But as soon as I ran down 3 flights of stairs, I could hear the train that I needed to get was like 3 flights above me, and I transferred for no reason. I was like, shit, I'm going to try to make it. So I ran down 3 flights and then up 3 flights, and like I'm not really in shape right now. So I was like breathing really hard, and I was like finally got to the top, and I can see like the doors like right there, and I'm like, oh my God. And it's like you know, like when a marathon runner like loses control of their body, it's like I tripped on nothing, but I just like I just crumbled and like went like
Tell me
forward,
someone had to catch you.
and I just like caught myself on my hands, but like fell fully as the doors are closing on my face. And I was just like, oh my God, this is like that moment in life where you're like, everything is wrong. And then the doors pop back open and everyone's just looking at me, and I'm like on the ground. And I actually was like, I wish that I didn't catch the train. So like I couldn't get myself up. So I actually had to crawl onto the train while everyone looked at me.
Army crawl
And then like, and then I had to be like, I don't even know. I think I said something really lame. I was just like, at least he opened the doors, right? But like no one like felt bad for me.
No.
They just like looked at me like I was a piece
they wanted to
of shit.
keep going.
Do you think that when you fell down with your hands smacking the ground, they thought that you were praying to Allah?
That could be what it was.
Did you bring a little carpet?
You can see my hands are still red. I'm like, I can feel it.
How did you not hang yourself with your belt?
And then like I thought about it, and I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to like go this stop, and then I'm going to change cars, and those people don't know me. You know what I mean? Like they don't know what's happening to me.
At that
point,
I
restart my day when I change this car. That's what I said.
At that point, you should have just like popped open your coffee cup and just been like, can I have donations?
Please
help me.
You saw how my day started, guys.
I
need medication.
They loved it.
Yeah.
People love to watch doors slam in people's faces.
Yeah.
That's like a New Yorker's
But
favorite
not
thing.
one person went, oh my God, that was
No.
crazy, or are you okay?
I admit I
they
don't-
just let me crawl onto the train on my hands and knees
I've
in
stepped
pain.
over people before.
And I'm not kidding, my body shut down. Like that's what happened. Like I tripped on nothing. I just went like, no.
That's so funny. I wish my handsome black man was on your subway
I
to
know.
catch you.
That's what I thought. You had the opposite morning.
It was such a delight. I couldn't even believe it.
See, the thing is, I wish I could see this guy so I could judge for myself if he was the perfect black man. You know what I mean?
He just was like, it was who he was as a person. He was wonderful. And we talked about on Gail's podcast about, I think I told you how Lisa called me like after the election. She was like, we can't fuck white guys anymore. So I'm like, I'm looking, I'm on the prowl. I always said I would wait until my dad died out of respect, but I guess.
Well, I saw that on your Snapchat too. You and Lisa coming back from that rock cruise where you both just look like so burnt and toasted from the whole thing.
I'm still wearing my all access artist pass. I'll never take it off. It was the greatest experience in my life. Yeah, we were beat, man. We just, we went on, it was called Shipwrecked, and we went with Big J Okerson, invited us. And we didn't know what to expect. We both brought like the wrong clothes. Like we thought it was going to be more about like the beach part of the cruise, but we didn't know that the cruises are like not really about that. It's about like being in a weird mall that you can't leave with a bunch of people. So it's this heavy metal cruise. And we ended up just like hanging out with the drummer from Papa Roach and Ruba Stang and like these things like we never thought our lives would be like this. And now I'm genuinely Papa Roach's #1 fan. We met this band, the Dead Deads, that were amazing. But it was like late nights, partying, just having such a good time. We brought weed and stuff on the boat. No one else did. So we were like the heroes of the boat.
None of the bands?
No, I feel like they all travel so much and they're older and that they just like they're either over that putting themselves in that danger or they're just.
Yeah, right. Because if anyone's going to get fucking checked, it's those dudes. You know what I mean? Like they must.
It was so funny. I mean, it was just so. It was just great. It was so fun.
So you guys did sets in between the metal bands?
No, it was like a separate thing. It was like we did shows in like a specific room. So there were different events happening at all times.
How was that audience?
The audience was good. I didn't do great. I will be honest. I ate it a little, but it was because I was like I didn't take time to like understand the audience. Like I was like, I don't understand the people that came on this cruise. And by the end I was like, we are one, like kumbaya, like yes, let's like throw up the devil horns or whatever. But it was, I didn't read them right, but it was also hilarious. I mean, like, of course it's funny to bomb on a boat and then have to see everyone. Like, I take it that way better, better than doing well.
The audience that you ate it in front of stays with you.
Yeah, the whole time. And of course no one else ate it. So it was just me being like, I swear I do this professionally.
And then you just see them at the buffet later or?
Yeah, well, I think they were like, you're one of us. And I was like, I mean, I don't know if I'm one of you, but I'm, But it was so funny. Like there's people that come on the boat, like they're repeat boaters. The boat sold out within, like 10 minutes of being posted, like minutes before they even posted the lineup. It was just Seven Dust. I mean, we were doing, the first day we went and we played Family Feud it was Seven Dust against Papa Roach. Lisa was on Papa Roach. I was on Seven Dust.
This is hilarious.
I mean, the whole thing was just like, it was just a dream. It was like a dream I didn't know I had. Like I was living someone else's dream is how it felt.
Well, that is true. Like all those bands would have played and headlined arenas in their time. And now if you grew up a fan of them, you get to not only see them all together, but hang around with them.
Yeah, there's that chance. They're paying this money for the chance to like be at the buffet next to them for sure. Like be reaching for the same last egg roll. But it was just, I mean, I just can't even like, it's like my whole life is about getting invited back on Shipwrecked and I didn't do a good job, so I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm like, how do I devote my life to this?
Well, I mean, how many times do you think those bands have to hear, man, I saw you guys one night in Charlotte? And you just fucking lit it up. You know what I mean? Because it's somebody's life-changing rock moment.
Yeah.
And the band is like, yeah, that's one of 10,000 shows I've done.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, they've been doing it for like 20. I mean, they're great musicians. It's like you're watching, and it's like you can make fun of like bands that are no longer popular or whatever, or that had their shine in the 90s or the early 2000s or whatever. But it's like the 200s. But it's like, they're just such good musicians. Like, they're so great. They've just been performing for so long. And I just loved it. It was just so good. And everyone was so into it. And we had, artist access so we could go back. I mean, it just felt, I'm never going to a concert unless I get to go backstage. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't ever live that life again. It just, you felt so special. And then, you're watching them and the lead singer, Jacoby, like his like little pleather, I'm sure it's actually real leather, but his leather jacket's like wind is blowing, cause he's on the deck of a boat. Wind is blowing. It looks like fucking Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is going on? How is this my life? And, so it's great.
Yeah, those dudes were always big into wind machines. Really big and big hair. And then very Broadway voices. There's a Broadway.
Yeah, there's a theatricality.
Yeah, there is.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it was excellent. And the Deads were the best.
What I took away from it is I saw you posted a lovely picture of Lisa Traeger's tits. So.
Oh, her boobs are so amazing. So we thought it'd be fun to do the before and after. Like when we were excited to go on the cruise and then we're leaving the cruise, just obviously haven't slept. Just a mess. But yeah, Lisa put this swimsuit on. She like she took the arms off and like flipped across them, and then her tits were, I was just like, this is what I'm standing next to every day? We're the same gender? Like, how are we considered the same gender?
Then you had a really hilarious thing when she's like, Lisa is so funny, even when she's fighting with her dad in Russian.
Oh.
And you just, Lisa just yell. I don't know what the fight was about.
She just gets, I mean, Lisa is such a badass. Like, she's just, there's no moment where she's not being herself and saying what she believes and everything. And so I don't speak Russian, but she gets on the phone with her dad. And you know, I knew she was Russian, but I didn't realize she was that fucking Russian. And she's like on the phone with her dad, just like, I have no clue what they were talking about. And her dad's like, at one point started laughing at her, and I just was like, this is beautiful. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I know that your dad's laughing in your face. And then on the boat, she like went to the bathroom, and her dad, it was before we had lost service, her dad called. So I picked up and talked to her dad for a second, and it was like this joyous moment that she still thinks is weird that I did that, but I was like, hey, I love your daughter. She's my roommate. She's so cool.
Where did they live? Her family?
They're in the suburbs of Chicago.
Well, just think of Lisa. First of all, she speaks Russian, but then does comedy in another language.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine, like, you took Spanish or whatever in school. To get to the point where you can be good enough at that to understand how to make people laugh, it's almost impossible.
Yeah. I mean, I barely speak any, yeah.
Nothing. I couldn't pick up any language. It wouldn't happen.
I just know like how to say like suck my dick in Spanish, and like I don't have a dick, I don't have a vagina, I have a dick to the kitchen staff.
Yeah, that's what I speak, kitchen Spanish, which is just like Spanglish while you argue about what ticket that they're supposed to.
Yeah, I for sure bang the kitchen staff a lot as a drunk in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and so I learned how to like communicate, you know, enough for them to salsa inside my pussy, but.
But you're sober for a while now, right?
Yeah, I quit drinking 8 years on the 28th, so 2 days ago, Saturday.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's big.
I mean, I've
8
done
years.
mushrooms, acid, DMT, a bunch of stuff very recently, but I like to do like learn about yourself drugs like ayahuasca. Like I'm always down with like a shaman or whatever. But quitting drinking saved my life. I'm glad I did it. I encourage everyone to do it. And
well, at least the people who need to.
Not everyone, yeah. But it also, drinking just gets you into such trouble that other things don't get you into.
It is true.
It's a true point, like in the hangovers and everything. I don't know. I don't miss it that much. I miss the excuse. I miss being able to be like, I was wasted. Now I just have to be accountable for every fucking action I have.
It is really funny how that is a legitimate excuse in this country. I kicked your cat, but I was very drunk.
Oh,
So
you're
that's
like,
good.
I even use that example because I woke up once out of a blackout. And it was when I first moved to New York, so it was right before I quit drinking, one of my last hurrahs. I woke up in a gold lame bikini that I didn't own the night before. It was January, so it was snowing. I'm in a gold lame bikini. I'm bottom. I don't know where my pants are. I'm in the house of a friend from Santa Fe who I haven't seen in 4 years. I've somehow reunited with him. I purchased a swimsuit. I had a black eye, and all I could remember was throwing darts at a dog. I think I said the N-word a lot too, but throwing darts at the dog. And I woke up and I was like, hey, Carlos. Also, his name's Carlos. Holla. Salsa. But I was like, Carlos. And apparently, like, my friends had come into town. We had this whole thing. We went swimming. I yelled at people. I walked into a wall, and I did throw darts at a dog.
And everybody remembers it but you.
Yeah, they give me little pieces of it.
Oh, that's the worst.
No, I prefer not to. I would just say, no, I don't need to know.
Yeah, it's like my body forgot this on purpose.
Because I actually think that person is the shittiest person that exists. Like, you were horrible last night. Like, you did that. And you're like, no. If I forgot it, it's because my body rejected that memory, and I'm not supposed to know it.
And I already woke up with severe guilt and sent out a mass text saying sorry to everyone that is in my phone book. But
I love that you say that other person is the worst person, not the person throwing darts.
I mean,
the dog.
but also the cat and the dog. They're just animals. But no, it is weird though. I think the same thing about people that tell you about other people that talk shit on you, where it's like, it's not my business what people say behind my back. So it's like when then people are like, did you hear so-and-so? Unless it's like someone I'm like about to go into business with or someone I seem like that I'm like cool with, but it's like, why are you telling me this shit? It's just like it's like a weird ego thing for the person, the messenger.
Right, because now you feel bad about yourself because you know somebody's talking about it. And then you never trust that person because you're like, oh, I thought I could talk shit to you.
Yeah.
I clearly can't.
Who has like the energy to talk shit behind someone's back though?
Now that we have Twitter, man.
Yeah, it just doesn't
do it to their Abby.
Yeah,
I'll say it right to your Abby.
Just do it that way. Get it over with. Like, I don't want to say anything, but Chris is like really a bad person.
Yeah,
What's
he's
that?
like-
Nothing.
Look
Hey,
at that
what's
piece
up?
of shit over there. Oh, I forgot I hated you. I'm just kidding. I love you. Hey, sweetheart. He was the only man in the room with us.
He's dater boy now. How long were you in your one relationship?
The last relationship, 8 years.
And now he took a year off and now went and did just nonstop Tinder.
Yeah, a lot of Tinder dating.
How much jerking off did you do in that year?
A good amount.
Dick almost fell off.
Well, no, now it's just being used fine.
Yeah, Tinder sucks though. I just got a fucking message from this dude. I do like another dating app, Raya, too. And I had met this guy on it and it was like, we hooked up and it wasn't good. And it was just like, I feel bad even talking about it. He didn't know where the clit was. It's like, it was just like so crazy. It was just so outrageous. And then, he wanted to hang out again. And I was like, no. I was like, sweetheart, I live a little wide open here. I don't really want to, like, if I meet you online, we're meeting once. Like,
right.
And then it's like, I've had to block people. I've done it twice. I always feel like this is my issue with the internet. I think it's different for guys because your standards are just like, get our dick in a pussy no matter what.
Feels good.
At all odds. But I feel like I create these. I met a guy on Bumble too, and I created this character. He told me he only dated black chicks. So I was like, yes, he's a wigger. This is going to be awesome. I'll get a flat brim hat, some Nikes. It'll be perfect. We'll listen to hip hop or whatever and bang out. So I end up like creating this character. This guy, he's a successful producer in my head. He's doing all these amazing things. He's perfect. I'm going to bang him. He's a man. He's strong. It's going to be great. I meet up with his mother. Of course, because I think he's perfect, I go hard. I lean in and I'm like, let's ice bucket challenge your jizz, like glaze me like a donut. Let's meet at your, like, he's like, let's go to a club that has like Drake on their playlist. I was like, doesn't your iPod? Like, what are you talking about? I'm not meeting at a club.
It's Drake.
So I meet him in a cab on the way to his house. And he's the worst person on earth. Like he's just like when he said he fucks only black chicks, he means the ones that work at like Whole Foods and like are midwives. Like he didn't mean like a ratchet 7-Eleven bitch like I thought. And it was like, so it was just like so disappointing. He was just like so effeminate and just like gross, but I'd already like, so I had to jerk his tiny dick off. It was just so gross, but it's like then you have to deal with, but the reason it's so terrible is because then I'm dealing with like the death of this like person I created. Right? So I have this dream guy that doesn't exist and this guy's such a disappointment. So I'm like going to a funeral and also jerking off this gross guy because like.
Because you felt you had to.
I shouldn't have. I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I'll never do it again. That was pre-election. Post-election, you can fucking jerk yourself off, motherfuckers.
This is so sad because it's like hearing the perspective on the other side of Tinder, like on the receiving end of Chris's
Well, what they
dates.
did for Chris, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, masturbation, oral sex.
Kindness. Is
Yeah,
what
I mean, I just couldn't. He told me he asked me to, he went suck me at one point. And I was like, and like, I have this mantra. Okay, so I have this mantra. I had this awakening when I went to Ireland this summer, and I had this mantra where it's like I'm a mountain, like you can rain on me, you can snow me, you can jizz on me, you can do whatever you want, and I'm still a mountain. Like I got this, like no matter what, I'm good. And I'm telling you, if I had sucked his dick and jizz had touched my mouth from his dick, it would have gone into the cracks. It would have gone into the crevices of my mountain, and I would have exploded and turned into dust. Like it was just like, if his jizz touches me, I will die. And it was just like so horrible. I had, at one point I was like, hey, can I he was like, he was going down on me and I was like, maybe I can like Jedi mind trick myself coming somehow. And so I'm like trying. And I was like, hey, my friends are in a fight. Can I text them? And he was like, sure. So he's like eating me out. And I just text my guy friend who I wanted to bang for a while. We kind of had something that was on. So I was like, hey, I'm on this terrible thing. Can you text me things so I can come? And so then he was like texting me dirty. Don't be so disappointed in me.
I am just baffled.
And then this is what real women are doing.
Oh my God.
But so then he's like texting me. So then I just had to fake for the first and last time I faked an orgasm, got out of there, and then I just like went and hung out with my friend. He Ubered me to his house. But it was just like, I'm not going to do that anymore, is what I'm saying.
You're done with that.
No, fuck the internet stuff. Then this other one was a nightmare. It's just like, and I hung out with that guy like 3 times. And it was like, I still, like, once we were there, I was like, oh, there's no chemistry. There's no pheromone match. There's nothing. I thought that there was.
But why not get out instead of figuring.
I wanted to come. Like I went.
Okay.
So like with this guy, I had met him
sense.
enough where I was like, I thought his personality was cool. This last one, I mean, that one I should have just gotten out of. That is like that was pre-mountain shit. That's like before
you realized you
But
were
it's
a
hard, you get told from such a young age about blue balls and shit like that. And I'm telling you, this is like, I don't fucking do this shit anymore. I do not give a shit about a man's pleasure. Like, I mean, obviously, like I want, if there's a connection, I want us to both come and everything, but it's like the amount of times that I haven't come, the guys have come, like the amount of times I put like a man who means nothing to me's feelings over my own, like that shit is done. I will not do that anymore. That was the last time with the Bumble thing. This last guy, I thought that I was going to think he was cool. And when I realized it wasn't going to happen, I stopped, passed out for a couple hours and then like was like, peace. You do know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was not, I mean, it wasn't, but I just didn't do anything beyond my.
You got to be the mountain.
Yeah, I gotta be the fucking mountain. But you gotta, it's like, but I wanted to come. I said, like, I go into someone's hotel room and I go, listen, I'm not leaving until I come. So this is a hostage situation.
That's sexual assault. That statement that you made is sexual assault.
No, he's already, like, it's already on, we're gonna bang. So it's like, I will come.
Right.
Or we are not, or you will not.
Or you will not, yeah. Me first and the gimmies.
I demand it.
Annie, the Mountain Letterman, is in studio with us. Annie will be performing at the Draft House Comedy Club in Washington, D.C. Thursday, February 2nd through Saturday, February 4th. Go to drafthousecomedy.com for tickets and information.
Have you been in long relationships?
Yeah, I was in a 3-year relationship. I just broke up with him right after I got back from Ireland. I was living in L.A. with my boyfriend in a nice 1-bedroom house.
That's why you came back?
And yeah, I miss New York every day. I mean, this is my home. I didn't have joy on stage in LA. It was fun. I mean, I was passed to the Comedy Store. I loved performing there all the time, but that was it. It just wasn't enough. And the relationship for me was like, he was so sweet and so wonderful, but it just wasn't, I like to live wide open, man. I just like I like to be able to perform, do everything I want, travel, like he wasn't like, upset about my travel, but I could just tell he wasn't excited when I would travel. And it's just like, I want to be able to get out there and do. And
you liked him. He was a nice guy. Everything was great. So leaving that must have been rough, right? Leaving.
No, it was great. I felt great. I felt.
But what about for him?
For him it's not probably as good.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I was like looking at his Instagram yesterday. I haven't really looked at it. I was like, oh, like I saw a picture of me with his cat, but it's like, I'm living in a house with 2 cats. Like I don't fucking like cats. All of a sudden I'm a cat owner for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's just like, it just wasn't, my family loved him. It's just like, that's not what I want, and I think it's hard you got to find the right match, especially when you're a comic, because the guys tend to be a lot more needier with me because I get so many of the things that people get from relationships from my job. You understand that, right? It's like we get it from strangers and we give it to strangers, and it's like, I don't need as much. So then it kind of makes the guys I'm with a lot more insecure.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
Yeah. I think it's tougher for a guy than it is for a woman, because I think a woman knows or is raised to be like, well, that's his thing and I gotta let him. But guys aren't raised that way.
Yeah.
Guys are raised that you're going to find someone who's going to be just thinking about it.
Yeah, and raised, and also I think it's both. It's like nurture and nature, both for women, to say, like, okay, this is what you're into. How can I help you get there? Whether that means to actually help you or to step aside and let you shine and do what you need to do. I think women tend to be, and of course this is not 100%, this is a generalization, tend to be more in tune with that, where I don't think men have it, they're not taught it, and they don't have it naturally.
You know what's perfect? The TV show Bewitched. He did not give a fuck. He didn't want her to be. She had powers.
Yeah.
And he's like, no,
your
don't use your powers. I need sandwiches.
I mean, my boyfriend wasn't like that either, though, but he was very like, he was so nurturing to me too. Like he would just like, I'm very messy with like clean all my laundry. Like he was always folding and doing things and accommodating. And that was gross to me too, because it's like, I'm so independent. It's like, I want to be able to, I just want to be alone. I just want to take care of myself and be on my own and like fuck people when I want, like I have a twin brother. Like I grew up next to someone. I didn't even get my mom's pussy alone. Like I like the idea of dying alone is like a treat to me, like I want, and I feel like there's some moments where I'm like, oh, I'm lonely and I want a companion, but I just have never, I don't know, maybe it's just commitment phobia, or maybe it's just like,
maybe that just wasn't it. Whatever. Like everyone always has this perception of what life is supposed to be like instead of letting people figure it out. That's why I hate, like in every movie, they have somebody who, like, at the start of the movie feels like they're cool on their own, and then they learn, no, I'm not cool on my own. Like, you're like, what?
Yeah, I don't like
doesn't have to all end the same way.
Every female-driven movie is like that, where it's like, she's just a mess, and then she finds this guy, and like everything. And it's like, what fucking message is that? Because that's not even, you know, we live such long lives, and we live so many lives within our life, and it's like, you know, like I have so many movies in my life that end, and none of them are ending where I'm like falling asleep and dying in the arms of someone. You know, it's not The Notebook. It's just, there's so many other things to live for than the approval of a man and a man to take care of you. It's like, but I don't know. I guess that's hopefully changing now. There's a lot of poster boards being sold and markers and pink hats, and
we are definitely in crazy times. There's no doubt about it. And like when there are a lot of times you can say to like younger people, "Oh, I've seen shit like this before." No.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because this is different.
This is all no.
It feels, I think it feels different than anything. Because even when it first happened, I was going, okay, like I kind of in high school was like the Bush administration, and like I think that it made young people at that time more political than say if you were in high school during the Obama administration. And then I kind of stepped back and got some perspective. I'm like, this does not feel like that.
Right.
This still, you know, like. This still feels very different because it is really
not
different.
Even,
it's erratic even for the Republicans right now.
Exactly.
It's a whole new ballgame. And I don't know, things might work out okay. You just can't be, you know, I'm not going to go around, well, this is the end times. But I can see why everybody feels a little edgy right now.
It's just there's nothing is predictable.
Yeah.
And the things that are predictable, you were like, oh fuck, these were like the doomsday predictions. Like these were like the predictions where it was like, where you were like, all right, chill out, man, that's not going to happen. And then you're like, oh fuck. But it's hard because it's like, I think a lot, I've been pretty political and people are getting upset with me, and it's hard for me because I do have compassion for everyone with all the views and everything. And it's just hard because it almost makes me feel upset with myself that it's so surprising to people that I have these beliefs that I am fighting the fight that I am fighting now, because I was brought up Quaker, like, you know, I was always taught that like everyone's equal, that there's no one like is better or worse. And it just seems like that part of me was never expressed and that's what I'm finding out in these comments where people are like, I used to fucking like you, fuck you, or whatever. And I'm like, sorry, I'm just like fighting for other people, and I'm not fighting against.
Right.
I don't want people to die or get hurt or not or have their rights taken away.
It's really weird that political views are one thing to make people go, oh, I thought I liked that person and now I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that would ever make me think James Wood isn't a great actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He fucking is. He's a great actor, no matter what he happens to think. And the same is true for, you know, everybody. But I don't think it's a negative thing for people to express themselves politically at all.
Particularly right now when it's so present. Everyone is feeling so strongly about it. I think that we have to just accept this is what we're going to be fucking talking about until we're not going to be talking about it. And it's weird and it's uncomfortable because it's a big change, and it, you know, I know people are like, this is affecting my entertainment. This is affecting my social media. Like, well, those things are new and nobody said you deserved those to be a certain way or those had to be only one way. And this thing will change and we don't know how it's going to change. But right now, everyone's thinking about it. Everyone's talking about it. It's just,
and it's hard because it's like, you know, like when you're a comic and you're going around I'm traveling and performing and stuff. It's like, I got to talk about the things I feel, because why the fuck would I be alive if I didn't? Like, what is the point of being alive on the earth if you don't believe things and speak up? That's just how I was. That's just how I look at it. So it's like, but I promise the listeners, I am trying my best to make it as funny for everyone as I possibly can. And we're all like relearning and figuring it out. And it's just hard when you do have a divided audience, but it's like, you know, I want all perspectives to have, it's just hard. But like, I woke up this morning and my favorite follower of all time, who's definitely listening to this, Phil, what's up? He was tweeting about people being attacked at the protests. And I just have been to so many of the protests and they've all been so peaceful. And the Women's March was like, there were little piles of trash. Like everyone was being so respectful. And And so I don't have the experience of them being violent, but they were talking about like Trump supporters getting punched or whatever. I would never want to do that. And I just was like, it was just such a surprising thing, because this is a person that I really, really like, who I've just known for years, who's come to like I just really care about him and think he's great. And I'm like, dude, if someone fucked you up, I would fuck them up. You know what I mean? Like, I got your back, like, no matter what, you know. And I hope politically you would have my back, like my rights too.
Well, look,
you know, it's like
crowds can get weird. There's always anarchists at every crowd, and you can get punched at an Eagles game. I mean, it's really.
I mean, you can't not get punched at an Eagles game.
I mean,
I've never not lost a tooth at an Eagles game.
But that's the thing that immediately becomes. Well, did you see what happened? Did you hear what happened?
It's just like one account, and I only saw it on one website, and I'm like trying to find it because I want to have all the information, and it's just so hard that there are these two like lines of truth and false that are happening, where it's like there's fake news and then there's real news, and then real news is being called fake and fake news is being called real, and it's like that battle's a really hard one to have.
It's weird.
It's a real hard one to have.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have enough time to fact check. Like, there's not enough hours in the day to feel like, okay, I just got that bit of information. It's very strange. Like, even now, I find myself like reading something and then immediately going, okay, let me just check to make sure I can find that on 4 or 5 other sources.
But that's smart. And I feel like that's super important these days. You gotta really you gotta fact check. You gotta have multiple sources. And I have a friend who's really brilliant. You met yesterday, Julia, and she sent me this whole thing of like all these different books to read, podcasts to listen to, like where to be informed. And she said that she's like, make sure you always check for more sources, and make sure that in your debates with people, just always trust your gut. Like, just really like.
Do you guys go to right-wing websites though at all?
I check them out.
Yeah, I do every day.
Yeah. I want to see what people are looking at.
Yeah, and it's usually just to see the type of, different types of information and the way they're getting across to
I always think of this when it comes to being conservative, right? Most people, even radical, are conservative about 91% of the things. Like, the stuff that divide us is a couple of hot button topics. But most people just want to go to work, have a family, think that your yard is yours.
But it's affecting other people so much that it's like, it's so hard to just be like, well, this is just my day. I won't even think about it, because it's like there's people that are like literally their families are being torn apart, and people are really, their lives are being threatened. And so that's what's hard for me, where it's like, I'm just going to do as much as I can, and it bums me out that bums other people out, but I have to.
Particularly this weekend, where, it feels like something that people could respond and go, oh, but we're talking about people that we perceive as dangerous. Well, we're also talking about people. We've never had this situation before where it affected people with green cards, working, and student visas. Like, this isn't just the regular reactionary.
I get all that, but you have to understand that people are also afraid.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you're afraid, 9/11 fucking changed some people forever, because they didn't ever think it could happen here. And then also, when it comes to that, we were just talking today that it's kind of a shame that Harlem is changing into being gentrified, right? Mm-hmm. It is. That culture is disappearing. That's been there forever. So imagine that people feel that way about whatever this Western culture thing that they had when they were younger. You know what I mean? From just getting older, the world changes all the time. Things that I like go away. Things that I don't like come in. Then there's some things like, oh, I didn't think I would like this, but I do. Yeah. And I'm talking about PlayStation.
I thought you were going to say anal. I was like, wow, it's so weird to talk about in front of your daughter.
Anal's been around. For a lot of people, anal's been around. 3 ways to been around.
It's new to me. I've been getting those tiny dicks in my life recently. I'm like, oh, you can go right in the asshole.
Millennials think they invented anal, but they really, really didn't.
Chris, what was that? You just gave us the finger?
Why would you do that?
Oh, no, time cues. That's all.
What's the time cue?
3.
I thought he was like, I have 3 little dicks that can go in your ass.
Now, let's say that Annie was on Twitter. Would you swipe, or
Tinder.
would you think, or whatever, Tinder. Would you swipe or think that she's out of your league?
Oh, no, I'd swipe, right? I have confidence.
Would you swipe on him?
I mean, don't do this to me.
Enough said. That's all we need to know.
So that's a yes.
No, I just, honestly, I'm fucking done. It's disgusting. Also, the fact that you can swipe so fast on someone's, like, on your first instinct on their face, when it's like you don't know anything about them, it's just like, fuck you, I hate your face. Like, it's just, the whole thing is so crazy. And I don't know. Is your profile a lie?
No, it's not. Everything's true.
Oh,
on
you
there.
guys are such bullshit. Usually, it's like, I mean, are you the exact same? You look exactly the same.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think, Gail? Do you think he's lying a little
I'm
bit?
wearing this shirt in one picture.
Well, it's a close.
Ooh, that one.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I would definitely swipe left.
That's right.
That shirt? Ooh.
Yeah.
I used to always say, I had a line on a roast with Dan St. Germain where I was like, because he's always on Tinder, I'm like, Dan's been swiped left so many times. Wait, left is bad, right?
Yeah, left is bad.
Dan's been swiped left so many times, Tinder tilted.
Dan's a sweetheart, though.
I mean, he is.
Yeah.
He used to be my roommate.
Is that right?
Yeah, I lived with Dan St. Germain and Mike Racine at some point, and
That's hilarious.
neither of them, I didn't wake up to, and either of them raping me or trying to
Right.
stab me at the same time, which was shocking.
I don't think Racine has the energy. I just really...
Well, the second day, I used to do a joke about this. The second day I lived with him, he goes, Annie, he's like, why do you lock your bedroom door at night? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Why are you checking the lock?
So, yeah, I was like, yeah, why do you know that? That's
He just
why.
gave it a jiggle just in case.
I was like, yeah, the best case is he's coming in just to watch me sleep. I'm like, please, just gaze at me while I dream.
All right, we got to wrap this up. Annie's so funny, and you got to see her on stage.
This was fun.
Really, really funny on stage. Really, she comes from about 8 different places. Like, you cannot guess where
She's the
any of her
best.
premises are going. And follow her on Snapchat, Twitter, all that kind of fun stuff.
And she's performing at the Draft House Comedy Club in Washington, D.C. Thursday, February 2nd through Saturday, February 4th. DraftHouseComedy.com for tickets. Follow her on Twitter at Annie Letterman.
Let's have fun. Don't be mad at me.
All right, that's it.
I
for us,
love you,
Chris.
Phil.
Anything else to plug? Oh, the Unmasked.
The Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara Unmasked. That's happening Monday, February 6th at 3:30 p.m. here at the SiriusXM studios. You go to theinterrobang.com for a chance at free tickets.
These are the folks that are from the Christopher Guest films and SCTV. Catherine O'Hara is one of my favorite people of all time. Eugene Levy, also brilliant. It's going to be great Unmasked. Your chance to come out, see the show, meet them. It's going to be great. All right, that's it for us. We'll see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!